Media transmissions from Earth have polluted the Milky Way galaxy with completely unwatchable content. Fearing these signals will spread beyond our galaxy, Captain S and the 01 Legion have headed to Earth to destroy the source of this woke mind virus.
Damn, if there was any chance that Thunderbolts was going to be any good, this latest rumor has just completely torpedoed all of that.
Keep rolling, 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 rolling. What? Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Superheroes.
And Dean Cain reminds us why he is the best Superman since Christopher Reeve.
It's so funny because, like, yeah, why are you asking Christopher or Dean Cain his opinion on a Marvel movie? But hey, he knows what he's talking about. He's on point. This is a quick Dean Cain moment that I've wanted to talk about with somebody, but I just really haven't had the chance since it happened. Have either of you two heard about this show called The Curse? It was on Showtime. It has Nathan Fielder and Jacob's favorite Emma Stone. Right? Yeah.
Oh, I definitely have not seen it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't think you would, but maybe you heard about it. But it's essentially this very like if you guys know like Nathan For You or that kind of humor style thing, it's that very sardonic take on like very neoliberal like white couples, right? Like, oh, we're gonna go into this poor neighborhood and renovate a bunch of houses, and we're doing it so it's eco-friendly and yada yada yada, like all that sort of stuff. And it's really making fun of their characters. But in one episode, they're like, hey, none of these really progressive eco houses are selling. What are we going to do? And I think Nathan Fielder goes and he like puts up a bunch of ads or whatever, and somebody answers and they're like, oh, great, somebody's really interested. Should we have them over or whatever? And Emma Stone's like, yeah, come on over. And it turns out to be Dean Cain. But when he pulls up, like he's got like a Blue Lives Matter sticker, but also like a protect like Native Nation rights and like a WW, like the World Wildlife Foundation sticker, but then also like a Trump 2024 sticker. And the whole bit in that episode is that Dean Cain is this really nice guy, and he's like, it's basically making fun of liberals who are like, oh, you back the blue, you must be a Yahtzee or whatever. And then Dean Cain comes in and he's super nice. He's like, oh yeah, I love this home. I really want a place that I can move me and my grandma into. I'm taking care of her, blah, blah, blah. And it's just such a perfect moment that I maybe I'll clip it later and I'll share it to my Twitter, but it's such a good Dean Cain moment. Dean Cain rules for like playing into that role. Like, yeah, I know what people think of us, so I'm going to sort of challenge that on screen. And I just thought it was like the best moment. And I saw so many like neoliberal Twitter users in the aftermath being like, I thought Dean Cain's cameo was really cool until I saw his bumper sticker. Don't we think we shouldn't be putting these things on TV? And I'm just sitting here like, You are the exact thing that they are making. Well, bumper sticker, but also like you are the exact thing that they are making fun of. The super reactive, super neoliberal, up their own butt attitude. So yes, that all that to say, Dean Cain rules, and he is the best Superman. Although, he has this suit in that show that's like an evil Superman suit, I guess. Or no. It's his Krypton like formal wear, where it's essentially like a blue Superman, or his suit goes black and then his emblem is outlined in blue. It's a little dorky, but I've always really liked it. But they've never brought it back for anything. And I'm like, come on, Dean. Like, but yes, aside from our brief deviation into Dean Cain fanboyism, I'd like to welcome everybody to another episode of the 01 stream. It is Wednesday. It is the Boundings into Comics channel, and you are stuck with me, Jacob, and Cider for the next 2 hours as we break down all the biggest headlines in pop culture this past week. Obviously, if you guys caught the thumbnail while it was still up before we went live, you'll know that biggest topics on our docket are, of course, Mr. Cain and big changes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that, like I said in my intro, there was a
they have learned nothing.
Yeah, they've learned absolutely nothing. And if anything, they're getting worse because we will get into it, but it is the absolute worst spin they could have possibly taken. But before we get into all that, let's say hello to everybody in the chat, because of course we couldn't do this without you. First person here tonight says, RJ McReady says, something tells me she's only there by contractual obligation at this point, referring to Brie Larson. She might be the reverse RDJ in her only salvation is going back into similar roles she was in before Marvel. So yeah, obviously, that's one of the big topics. We're going to talk about Brie Larson's future in the MCU, but I genuinely, just to tease it, I genuinely think it is a contraction, not even a contractual obligation anymore. Like, I don't think she wants to be here. She wants to be done with these movies. So none of us want her to be here. So we will definitely talk about that as the show goes on tonight. Second is also Dante Eric says, makes no difference to me whether she's in or out. F those movies. I mean, that's pretty much what everybody feels at this point. I will admit that we'll get into it, but there were two specific moves that I've talked about them before on the show that made me go, oh, maybe the MCU is learning its lesson. But then, as Jacob just, so succinctly put it, they have not at all. We also have DZ3 says, hey guys, unfortunately can't stay for long today. Hey, DZ, no worries. Do what you got to do. You always have a spot here. Appreciate you stopping by for what little time you can. But even if you couldn't, you're always a member of the Bounding into Comics family. We also have Leslie. Yes, we have Leslie at the top of the show. Great to see you, girls. She says, hail to all you lovely people. Hail to you, Leslie. It's not really a show without you. We have the Eccentric Banana saying, g'day, nerds. Where do you think we are, right? He says, I thought Nicolas Cage was the best Superman. Now Eccentric's is trying to get attention. I know your game. I know your game. It can't even be true because he was on screen for all. That wasn't even Nicolas Cage. That's what it was, right? Like,
it wasn't even Nicolas Cage.
It's not him, so can't be your favorite Superman. My green screen. And then we have, hey, it's me and HD says, another awesome night with the Bounding crew. Hail to you. We hope we can deliver as we always do, because we know that Hollywood is not going to entertain you, so we might as well step up to the plate, right? We also have Tehillim saying shalom and good to see you all. Shalom to you, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you around. You're an OG. You're always welcome around. We also have Mitch Ryan. Hey, buddy, long time no see, but always welcome to have you back. I'm sure you, Mitch, will have a lot of input on our Marvel talk later, because you're always pretty keyed into what the topics of the Marvel Day are. Then we also have Rocky the Black Dragon saying, hey, everyone, saying, what's up, Rocky the Black Dragon? How are you doing, my friend? And with that, I think we should get into our first topic of the night. What do you have for us, Cider?
Well, we were talking about Dean Cain, so let's talk about Dean Cain.
Mr. Dean Cain. So, quick little. So here's the story, right? Here's the story, Morning Glory. So if you guys don't know, there is a reviewer on YouTube who's, I guess, pretty popular. I don't watch him. I don't think any of us in our sphere really watches him, but he does have a sizable follower count. His name is Chris Stuckman, and he recently put out his review of Madam Web. And basically, he essentially you know, I'm not going to we don't want me to sit here and quote for quote his entire intro, but essentially he said that, yeah, no, God, no. Do you want a bunch of, do you want to, it'll take us 40 minutes to get through a 5-minute thing with all of my stutterings and
that says absolutely nothing anyway.
Yeah,
so yeah,
that says absolutely nothing anyway. Yeah, exactly. So essentially Stuckman goes, hey, here's my review of Madam Web, but instead of, you know, trashing the film or talking about why it's bad or any sort of that stuff, I'm going to talk about all of the behind the scenes stuff that sort of led to its bad production, how the director was hamstrung by Sony, how Sony was chasing the Marvel, blah, blah, blah. And that response sort of, or that declaration by him sort of drew two camps of responses, right? One was, and this was the one that was sort of endorsed more by the popular Hollywood types. I know Joe Russo, actually, the director of Endgame and all that stuff, he retweeted this and he said, this is, you know, this is good. We need more criticism that isn't just bashing. It should be talking about the problems that led to all this, right? And then you had the other side of the argument, which was coming from sort of our sphere. The critical drinker I will put up is like probably the biggest proponent in that discussion, saying, no, if something's bad, you need to identify why it's bad, say why it's bad, and tell them why it's bad so that they can learn. Because if you just go every day, right? But in like
10 minutes.
10 just all you need is 10 minutes. But yeah, like, so those were the two competing philosophies on the matter. I'm personally of the opinion that, like, I think it is cool to, or let me rephrase that. I like the idea of exploring where everything went wrong behind the scenes, right? You know, give Sony their due crap, but I also don't think it should be used as an excuse to let everybody who was involved in that movie off the hook. Because as we talk about here, and we have for years, like, most of these people don't just show up one day and they have a one-day gig and they have to shoot it all then, and then it's gone, right? Like, these writers are working on it for a while. What is it, Jacob? All 8 writers on that movie were working on it for years. Mm-hmm. The director was working on it for years.
Somehow it was a bomb. Who could have figured that out?
Yeah, who could have seen that coming? Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think there's a middle ground there, but I also think it is sort of a little disingenuous to go, oh, it's not their fault. They didn't make a bad movie. It was the studio. It's like, no, let's take some responsibility here. So obviously, as I sort of, you might have gathered from my recap there, this Stuckman's review brought up a lot of discourse around the internet, and it eventually reached Dean Cain himself, which was such a very bizarre move. Sort of, yeah, why are we asking?
It's a crossover event.
It's like a crossover with almost like no basis. And I don't even mean that like in a bad way, right? It's like Dean's never been in like a Marvel TV thing, or like a DC TV thing.
I get what you're saying. They would have made more sense, like not a lot of sense, but it would have made a little more sense to go with Robert Downey Jr. because like he's got some knowledge of what the heck Spider-Man is, you know? I didn't take Dean Cain to be a guy that's got like a library of Spider-Man comics on his hands, you know?
No, and like when I think of comic book voices, you know, I mean we could be, but I'm right there with you, Sider. Like when I think of comic book voices, I don't put Dean Cain up there, but that's because, you know, we don't really see him engage in our spheres a lot, like even the CBRs or the comicbook.coms, but also
he's no Johnny Yonbosh, let's call it that way.
he's no New Broly, he's no Adam from Power Rangers, but he definitely I always consider him more of like a Hollywood like voice, you know what I mean? Like he knows what it's like to be in the trenches of that poop, in the trenches of superhero poop, in the trenches of fandom and like nerd debates, and also California, because I think he just left, or he either just left or he's one of the last ones, like last big non-liberal poison celebrities to still be in California, which is like,
get out while you can.
Yeah, right. Like that's seriously where I'm at. Like I hear all these, like, yeah, okay, you're probably fine in California, but it's just going to get worse. And you know, we've only got a couple months till it's getting way worse. Last year. Okay, good. I knew it was either close or he was last, but I knew he was like a significant player in it. I'm pretty sure Josh, wherever he is on that beautiful non-existent British Empire these days, I'm pretty sure he covered that one for us like a while ago. So Yeah, despite the fact that it's sort of an odd crossover, Dean Cain was asked his opinion about Stuckman's review on a recent episode of the Side Scrollers podcast. Now, if you guys don't know the Side Scrollers podcast, it is it's sort of I forget everybody who's on it, but it's a video game centric podcast being produced by like members of our sphere. I know like Gabe Eltabe, the former Superman colorist, current Rippaverse colorist. I know he's on it.
Razor Fist is a regular on the side.
Razor Fist. I think this is Adam Krigler might be the one who started it. Is that who it was?
Him and I just forget the other fella's name. I'm so sorry. It's not on purpose. It's been a long day. But yeah,
no.
They've been doing this for quite a while. Krigler and the other fella have been doing it for quite a while. They're very astute in what they go about with over there.
Yeah. They're very astute. It's actually a pretty good listen. They've got really good production value.
Stuttering Craig.
That's who it is. Thank you. Hey, it's me and HD. You've got it. Yeah. So it's those two. And like Cider said, the podcast has been going on for a little while now. I'd say like 2 years now. It's still relatively new. Like it's not something they've been doing for like 10 years. I think it's only been like a couple years they've been doing it. But so recent episode they had on Dean Cain and they said, hey, what do you have to say about Stuckman's review? And he basically said, yeah, I agree that there's a lot of problems there, but he's also sort of missing the point. So for this one, we will go through it because it's shorter and Dean actually has something worth saying. So asked this question by, I believe by Gabe on the podcast. He explained, quote, "My dad hated it when he was working on set. A producer came on set, I'm not going to say who it was or what studio, and cut the person's tie. That did not do well for my dad, by the way. That was not a smart move because there was somebody who took great offense to that and became, vengeful, if you will. Directors are the guys you want to talk to. And having some 25-year-old exec tell you what a film should be is crazy." But then Dean also says that studio people always come in and breathe down necks because, quote, they tug the purse strings. So essentially what Dean weighed in with is, yes, there are producer problems and they're not talked about, but also you got to just talk about where everything went wrong, right? Like the director should have had that power. So it's an interesting look into Hollywood. What do you guys think about Dean's take?
Well, I'll let Cider go first, and then I guess I'll drop the hammer in a second.
He's got a point about the absurdity thing. The necessary funding to get a film done is usually used like a ransom note.
Yes.
We saw what happened with Madam Web. This is what he's addressing is in Madam Web. The studio stepped in and said, Andrew Garfield. Who is Andrew Garfield? We needed to line up with Tom Holland. He is the Spooder Man now. And so it completely fell off the rails to the point where the studio said, screw it. It has nothing to do with Spider-Man now, except it has everything to do with Spider-Man.
And then they start singing the X-Men theme for some weird reason. I don't think they realize they have the rest of that.
Peter Parker is born in this movie, and they don't even name him in this, and he's like Spider Jesus in this setting. So it's like, he's got a point that these people are absolutely ridiculous in what they go about doing just because they write the checks. So I agree with Dean Cain that you end up with psychopaths and studios just screwing around with things because they're a kid with a magnifying glass on a sunny day.
No, I 100% agree with that, Reed. And I don't have anything to add to that. What about you, Jacob?
So, like I said, there's two issues going on here. It's like first, specifically with Struckman's review or kind of lack thereof in review, because there's one thing to like pull punches, and then there's one to not even throw them like at all. He's had pretty much that style film because look, he could have just came out and said that this is the worst movie that he's ever seen in his entire life, and I don't think anyone really pushed back on that. Like, it wasn't exactly like a controversial, like, oh, I can't believe he has this opinion on Madam Web. We'll never speak to him again. It's like, it's bad. It has 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone's trashing it. Nobody watched it. Like, he could have dropped the hammer on this, and like everyone would have moved on about their day. But you can tell his hesitancy because he didn't want to offend certain people, and that's kind of where we're at here, kind of our society now. Like, we don't want to say things that might upset people. Look, I know that people worked so hard on this whole film. It's like, look, I'm sure people worked hard on this film. If I go back to one of my worst movies in 2016, Sausage Party, I know that there's a lot of people who worked very, very hard. And I know that because a lot of them didn't get paid or credited. So yes, people worked very, very hard on bad movies. That's what happens. It doesn't change the fact that it's still a terrible movie. And if your job is a film reviewer, if some people go to be like, hey, I'm interested in this movie. Is it good? Does it suck? And I want your opinion. If you can't be completely confident in your opinion, then what are you doing being a film reviewer? If you just want to be an entertainment pundit and to just cover things from the outside and not have any kind of skin in the game, then go ahead and do that. But your job as a film reviewer is to tell Joe Schmo if a film is great or if a film sucks ass through a straw. That's your job. If you can't do the core tenet of your job, you need to go find something else to do. That's really just what it comes down to.
Like to me, you just touched on like a big chunk of this conversation that's being left out. And we see it over in the video game sphere too, which is like, yeah, we know that people work on these things, but at the same time, that doesn't mean like the human element doesn't mean they get a pass to crap all over everything or to keep falling upwards. You know what I mean? What were you saying, Cider?
So I found this. Okay, I'm not even going to explain it. Here we go.
Hit it.
Oh boy.
Okay. Speaking of video games,
And kneel and be amazed at the touch of the black man. I bring light.
there you go.
I like that. I like that video title. The what was it? Sweet Baby Inc. The Successful Feminist Frequency.
Yeah.
No, but I also want to know, because it always makes me laugh, and we're not going to delve into it. You guys can go look at the article. But Anita came out like last year or like 2 years ago and was like, everything I asked for is working. And that's a problem because now like women aren't getting, it was just so sad. And I'm just like, reap. So as always.
Exactly. But clearly that's somebody else.
That clip
problem, right?
is just that gamer. I don't know what possessed him to just go that hard at the Spider-Man game. He has so many other like priceless clips that Gundam has here. I wish I knew who that guy was, but that is like the perfect summation of the current problem with most entertainment. I'm not saying all of it, but even video games, comics, movies, that little clip is feel the touch of the black man.
Oh man, like
hilarious.
you're not even you guys like aren't even wrong, especially like when we get to the story about Sentry. That's literally what Marvel is doing nowadays. Like it is 100% the am I allowed to say like the magical black people society, but real life now? Like that's exactly what it is.
We don't have the Eric July recording. We don't have it.
Yeah.
Jacob?
No, I know. You can say it, Jacob. I can't say it. This is your word, not mine.
Or as I can say it, niggas with powers. That's all
I mean,
do you remember Jacob Insider like a couple of years ago? I think it was in like 2020 or 2018 or something. There was like a solstice that was supposed to be like the longest solstice we've had in a long time. And Black Twitter was like, we're going to get superpowers off of this. It's going to activate the melanin. And everybody's just like, what? Like where? Yep. Not even the Black Israelites were like, what are you doing over here? That's not even how it works.
Yeah.
I want to say that was back in 2012. I want to say
that
when the end of the world was going to happen. The Mayan calendar was predicting the end of the white man's world. I think that's where that came from. And they were like, we're all going to get superpowers, and that's what causes the end of the world.
Finally, like, Yaqub's plan fails.
Right.
Yeah, if you want to go into the whole Nation of Islam, I did a Bible lens on that, and that's where all those wacky, dumbass conspiracy theories and beliefs comes from. So yeah, I did.
For anybody who goes and
mother
checks it
wheel.
Out, dude, you will. That's like, see what Cider just said. That's like part of all their crap. You will laugh so hard. There's magical math, and
it's dumber than Scientology. Unironically, dumber.
It's like if Scientology got started on Twitter. Like, let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Even Mormonism is more believable than whatever. Like,
oh no, hold on. Let me redo it. I lost the first book. Let's see, where was it? RJ, or before we move on, Mitch says, I wonder if Dean Cain was asked to cameo in the Flash movie, but I suppose a Smallville guy didn't appear either. Tom Welling. Or you go ahead. You take it.
No, I was gonna say just one more thing from Dean Cain. Like, I understand Dean Cain's take about this whole situation because, like I said, you have to understand that he's also coming from it from the Hollywood perspective. Like, he's not like, you know, in the bubble like he was like years ago, but he's still coming from a person who's like worked on film sets and like kind of sees, you know, how hard everyone works, stuff like that. So he has to give somewhat of a softball too. He can't go over there and say like, yeah, these writers are trash, these producers are trash. He's probably still friends with a bunch of people. And when I saw, it's like, I understand like his kind of more reserved take on the whole situation here too. But like I said, it all comes down to the point. It's like, are you a film reviewer or not? That's what it really comes down. Like, people forget there was a day when like movie critics used to like look forward to just ripping apart terrible movies. Like, it used to make their day. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do like a 3-hour presentation for preparation for this film that made me suffer for 3 hours. Like, I'm really just gonna let them have it. But like I said, we're on this, you know, soft, just butter soft society now where no one can take any criticism for their bad doings whatsoever. Like, just kind of a quick little sidebar here. There's a bunch of women in the WWE right now who are coming to like give hugs to this other girl who's in WWE because she's not good. So this Maxine Dupree, whatever her name is, she got booed at a recent house show event because she's Dupree. So she's like some Dupree. She's like some WWE wrestler who's not good at all. If you saw our Royal Rumble stream, you know that. But she got booed at an event, and all of a sudden, all these women who, keep in mind, are supposed to be bad guys on television are all be like, hey guys, can you stop booing my friend here? Can you stop being a terrible person? It's like, isn't that the whole point of wrestling, is to boo and cheer people? And you guys are crying because you're getting booed? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Like, first of all, I can't believe that's coming from heels. Like, that's insane. You're breaking kayfabe right there. Why do you even have a job in this league? Like, that's just insane. Can you imagine like Razor Ramon coming out and being like, hey, whoa, don't you talk trash on Mick Foley? You know, he's a legend or whatever. No, he would have gone like, yeah, Mick sucks or what. Like, he would have gotten in on it, right? Like, that's the point. And so not only is that stupid, but to your point, I see it in the world of video games too, where somebody makes a really bad game. We saw this a lot in the Suicide Squad discourse where, oh yeah, this game's bad, but don't be so mean. There's so many developers who worked on this. So many people put their time into it. And it's like, okay.
It's like, that's not my fault. Like, just because your producer didn't pay you any money to work on it, just because you missed your kid's birthday because you worked 80 hours a week working on this terrible game, that's not my problem. Like,
right, like, I'm blaming me for. Don't try to guilt trip me into giving you an extra point or whatever, right? Like, if your thing sucks, it sucks, and we need more. This sounds a little harsh, but like, we need more people to face the consequences of it, because we see so often, as you and I love to bring up, the Rick and Morty pipeline, where people just fail upwards every time. You know, this movie over here fails. Well, we're gonna go put you over at the studio. You're gonna be on this project now. Oh, that didn't work. Well, go over here now. It was never truly bad. It was always the audience was bad, or the environment it was released in was bad. It's just all so.
It's like, sad. No, you suck. That's the problem is. You stink.
Is this her?
Stink. Yeah.
Yeah,
she
this is her.
Like a good wrestler.
I mean, she's hot, but she's not good at like her. She's not good at her in-ring job. Let's just put it that way.
Well, you know, I was just about to say she looks like she's about to star in the Thunderbolts as Sentry.
Actually, yeah.
Well, no, she's not in a wheelchair, so she wouldn't qualify for being Thunderbolts. Yeah. Did you not know that little tidbit of the story there, Cider? Was that breaking news to you as well? Should we get into the Thunderbolts story?
No, I was trying to think of like, how are they going to do that? Because like, if they get I think I'm thinking this harder than the Disney.
They're just gonna cast like they cast like Echo. They're gonna go look for someone who fits it all. Rather, so
that's the problem. Is it if they find somebody who's in a wheelchair and then they give them Sentry powers? How does
here's how it goes. Some coked out Hollywood executive went to Marvel Studios. Is like, what if we did Suicide Squad and added Shazam to it? It was like brilliant, $200 million budget.
Yeah, that's seriously what it was. And like, here's the thing: I prefer the Thunderbolts in the comics to the Suicide Squad. But when they got to the MCU, I can't help but feel like you guys now Marvel's playing catch up to DC, and for all the garbage products that DC has put out with Suicide Squad's name on it, from the 2 movies to the like last 4 comics to that awful video game. Yeah, it's all bad, but people know it now. Like, just through pure like permeation, people know what the Suicide Squad is and know like that concept. So now you try and throw it out there for Marvel, and people go, "Oh, seen it."
And everything. If you guys saw our show last night, we played a very funny video from RDA's world, but it's like even normies now are starting to realize that Marvel is just like gone down the crapper now. Like even the normies are realizing, like, wow, these movies are like really, really bad now. And guess what? They're only going to get worse, because here's what's going on with Thunderbolts. We should back up just a little bit before we get into this story. This all started a few months ago when they announced that Sentry was apparently going to be the villain in the Thunderbolts movie. Now, for those of you guys who don't know the character of Sentry, he's essentially a Superman clone from Marvel. He's basically Superman if he had like massive mental health issues, right? That's essentially what his whole character is. It's like there's this whole thing with like, you know, his mental state and the void, and sometimes he'll just snap and rip people in half because, you know, that's what he does and stuff like that. So that's kind of the character here. So you think to yourself, okay, Thunderbolts in this context in the MCU is basically going to be their version of Suicide Squad. So why would the villain of this movie be Sentry, who can easily one-shot all of these characters like with ease, like no effort whatsoever? So the whole point of having him in this movie didn't make any sense. People were going like, wait, why is Sentry, like, why pick him for this movie? Like he could be, honestly, he could be an Avengers level like villain if you wanted it to, and you're gonna throw him away in Thunderbolts. Then after they announced that, they said, you know what? No, be perfect to play Sentry. Let's get Glenn from The Walking Dead. He makes a perfect example.
Pure race swap.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Sentry is your, like, it's Superman, but he's like blonde haired, like strong jawed, like he's your classic American guy. And then they went Stephen Yeun.
Yeah,
exactly. I like Stephen Yeun, but no, it's not the casting.
Yeah, so instead of who's the perfect actor to play this character right here on your screen? Yeah, let's get the 5'5" actor from Walking Dead who's Asian. Let's get him to play the role. It's like perfect.
Looks exactly like him.
So they went all in on this idea that Glenn is going to be Sentry in this film, but then the writer's strike happened and the acting strike happened. So a few of the actors that were supposed to be in this movie tapped out. He was one of them, and we'll get to the other person here. So all of a sudden, it's like, well, he was going to be our villain, and he's not here now. So what we're going to do is like, okay, well, let's get in one of these actors here from Top Gun Maverick, and then make him replace him. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, that still doesn't address the problem of you have literally a Superman clone, evil, crazy Superman clone, versus what, White Widow and Winter Soldier. It's like it doesn't,
well, like that's the worst thing about this lineup is that it's all super soldiers and ghosts. They all just have guns. It's like the Expendables.
Imagine trying to fight Superman with guns. Just like, what's the point?
That's what this ending fight is going to be. Like, oh, why aren't our bullets working? Tag, 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 tag. We need the power of empathy.
You remember that opening scene? Yeah, that'll be what it is. But you see the opening. Remember the opening scene from Superman Returns? Where you have Brandon Ruth walking into the hail of gunfire from the mounted turret, and it's just the gun overheats, and you see the bullet bounce off his eyelid, his eye, right off his pupil there. And they'll do that. I guarantee you, because nobody has any new ideas at Marvel. They'll do that. You'll have like Red Guardian just like unload like every last bullet. He's got all the grenades. He's like, I think I got him, guys, and then like off his neck. You know, right in front of White Widow, just drop
that. That absolutely is going to be a line. I think I got him, and then he's not like, oh, that's so painful.
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it. You're totally right, Simon. Like, they're not original. So I see them ripping off that shot. I see them ripping off the shot, even though they don't have a speedster. I'm sure they'll use like Ghost or something. But the one of Superman from Justice League, where he's fighting everybody and or he like sees Flash. Like they'll probably rip that off. It's gonna be bad because there's not a real lot of hope here.
So we'll get here to the reveal. So this is the rumor going on right now about how they're going to formulate this story. So instead of the Thunderbolts actually fighting Sentry, like the hero that you're seeing right here on your screen, is that what they're going to do is that they're going to kill off Sentry towards the beginning of the film, and that the mantle of Sentry is going to get turned into a mantle. So that means that multiple people can be Sentry now, because essentially they're going to give his powers to a whole bunch of other people, a whole bunch of other individuals who are going to have the title of Sentry. So you're not going to get, the Robert Reynolds Sentry character. You're going to get people like this, and this is essentially what we're looking at here. The character that you see on the left, I believe, on the right, I should say, and this is where you're going to have to help me out here. It's like Mallory Gibbs.
I got it.
So she's a black female journalist with cerebral palsy. So she quite literally, she's in a wheelchair.
So here, let me just give I'll do the quick comic book rundown, because you're not getting anything wrong. I just feel like this is probably the best part to give it. Like, you're completely on point. You're not wrong. But so here's where we are with the Sentry nowadays. So if everybody, like, we went through his origin story. For a while he was on the Avengers teams. For a while he was being used by Norman Osborn on the Dark Avengers team. For a while Marvel didn't really know what to do with him, so they sent him off to space. Very recently they had him die and come back as sort of like a zombie ghost thing, right? Mm-hmm. Doctor Strange defeats him, goes, "Get out of here, Sentry," spreads his energies across the universe so that nobody can ever, like, it can never be used again. That has the effect of the energy comes back to Earth and it goes into 5 different individuals, which on its face, not an entirely terrible idea. But here's where things start getting eye rolling, especially for all of us, right? So 5 people get these powers. The people are an Indian, India from India mutant who, so like an Indian mutant who is poor. You have a woman, a Mexican immigrant mom. You have a gay Asian street performer, and then you have Mallory Gibbs, who is a black female journalist with cerebral palsy, and then the 5th one is a white guy named Ryan.
And of course he's the bad guy. Of course,
that's exactly what I was about to ask. I was going to say, now tell me, class, which one of these guys is the bad guy? And he is cartoonishly bad. Like, if you just flip through the series that's currently going on right now, his entire thing is like, do you guys ever see The One with Jet Li? Yep. It's basically that. Yeah. Like, he's going around going, "Oh, immigrant mom, kill, now I have your power," or whatever. And yes, he's it's so cartoony. And then, the only one left to stand against him is the black disabled female journalist, who might be gay. They haven't talked about it yet, but I'm like, how can she
possibly lesbian? The same thing as Echo. Possibly lesbian, only because it hasn't been confirmed yet.
So,
but that's the comic rundown of it.
We have to also remember that Rob Reynolds is batshit insane. Okay, that character is nutso. He willed himself into having these powers. He didn't. The Sentry thing.
Remember, he was a meth addict who took like botched superhero serum and then somehow went even crazier as he obtained Superman powers. So.
But he didn't really obtain Superman powers. He obtained a complex that created such a dichotomy in his psychology that it gave birth to the ultimate hero, Sentry, and the ultimate evil, the Void.
Yep.
And that's because Rob himself is just so batshit insane. I can't stress that enough to you. Like, when they had to go and fight Thor for whatever reason, it was because it was in Secret
Invasion?
Secret Bad Boys. Yes, no, Secret Empire.
Oh, Secret Empire.
And
yeah.
That's when he ripped Ares in half. And the Void got loose because they went and they got Rob out of this weird prison that Spot put him in. And so Rob was like, "Oh, I don't know if it's safe for me to come out." And I remember Iron Man saying, no. It's okay. We definitely aren't worried about what will happen. And the Void got out and they ended up fighting the Void. And then Tony was like, "As usual, I didn't expect this to happen."
Oops. Who could have possibly seen this coming? If Tony was like in real life, he would be a movie producer, 100%.
Yeah. He's the guy who screwed up Madam Web. You bet.
Yeah, exactly.
So So the whole point of this is that, you know, they're turning Sentry not from a character to a mantle, so that way you can have other diverse characters essentially be diverse Superman clones in this movie, in this universe here. Now, the lady who was supposed to play this character was Ayu Idibri. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. It's like weird, like don't ask me to pronounce last names, but she was supposed to be in this film as an unnamed character.
If anybody knows her, that she's the star of The Bear, that FX show about the restaurant. She's like the lead actress in that. If you know her, that's the only reason I know her.
And by the way, the another thing, the one of the screenwriters, 3 of them, by the way, one of the screenwriters from this film, Joanna Callow, is actually one of the directors and writers of that show. So they were supposed to be working together in this film, but now she's hopped out of the project, so might as well get rid of her too. I mean, I don't know why she's still here before, but we'll get to that here in a second. So she was supposed to play this unnamed character believed to be Mallory Gibbs, and at some course of the film, she was going to carry the mantle of Sentry here. So like, it's very parallel to Shazam in the sense that when she's not, you know, Sentry, she's basically a journalist in a wheelchair and she doesn't really have much mobility. But when she becomes the superhero, the super human, she can do like stuff like that. Like her legs work all of a sudden and she can become like the most dangerous weapon like in the entire world. And that's kind of the whole concept. And this is only something that's been in the comic books for like a year or two. This is even like a new thing. It's like,
I was telling Mitch in the chat, because Mitch Ryan was like, oh yeah, I've never seen her or Sentry as Superman. I saw him as Shazam. And I'm like, wow, I never thought about that until Jacob, you said it like 5 minutes ago at the top of this segment. I was like, I've never drawn that. And now the more you talk about it, the more I'm just like, dude, this is really bad. This is just, we saw how good or how much people liked Shazam on screen, and now we want to get in on that dough. Like, that's really sad.
It's not great. So when she dropped out, the IU actress, when she dropped out, they ended up picking up the girl from, if you guys caught my review last week of Drive Away Dolls, you know exactly where this is going. Drive Away Dolls is a film that Ethan Coen and his wife about her lesbian escapades of 30 years ago. But the girl, the co-star who was in that movie, Geraldine Visanaven, or Visanaven, like I said, it's a very weirdly pronounced last name. This one right here.
Who knows?
Visanaven. She sounds like she was pronouncing it like in a German type of way, so maybe just go with that. But she is essentially the replacement for Ao here, so she is going to be whatever this character is. And in the comic books, so I don't know means if that's going to be a slight alteration or if she's still going to play Mallory in the film or whatnot. I mean, Hollywood's been pretty lazy; they'll probably keep everything the same. So it's just the movie is already filming now. I mean, if they were to move the character too far away, that would cause like rewrites and reshoots, and they're just like, you know what, just have the Indian girl be the same character. It's the same concept. We get it.
I'm guessing they'll get around it by, because I you know that if they made this movie and they said, oh, Geraldine is Mallory Gibbs or whatever, you would have all the crybabies going, wow, whitewashing, like you can't believe you replaced a black character. So what they're gonna do, and I was trying to mull over how they would get around this last night, and it just came to me. Remember how I mentioned that Indian recipient of the Sentry powers? They'll just give her the female version of his name and just say that's him now. Like we're
gonna race swap a diverse character we just created a year ago. It's like, why not?
And then we're gonna gender swap that character.
Exactly. So I mean, this is where it really comes down to, is that we're not only just race swapping Sentry like we were gonna do with Glenn, but now we're gonna gender swap and race swap, and then have several other characters play this. So I'm guessing if they're going directly with this comic book angle here, one of the Sentry, like I said, literally the only white guy who can walk apparently, is a teenager called Ryan Topper, who immediately gets the powers of Sentry and just wants to kill all the other Sentries so that he can take all the power to himself. So shocker, that's where we're going here. So in this Thunderbolts movie, very possibly we can see all of these I guess you could say, I mean, look, I'm looking at the Thunderbolts like lineup here, the confirmed lineup. It's Florence Pugh as White Widow, it's Winter Soldier, it's US Agent, which is basically like B-level Captain America, it's gender swapped Taskmaster, gender swapped Ghost, Red Guardian, and then Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like those, that's the team. That's the
whole lot of Captain America rejects there. Jeez.
Yeah.
It literally is like every character who wasn't fully good enough to be Captain America. And Sam should technically be
all the
too.
Failed experiments of Captain America on essentially. One team.
But like that's the thing, is like listen to that lineup and it's pretty boring. Like I want to like I like the fact that Florence Pugh is there, but that's because I'm a simp for her. We all know this. This is not new for the stream. And then I admit I did like Red Guardian in Black Widow from David Harbour, but that was, I mean, it was the most basic type of that performance you could give. The old like back in the suit type of thing, right? Like it's a very, there was not a lot of depth to that character, so, but it was like it worked. So I was like,
okay, I speak with very basic Russian accent, and I'm funny, and they're great.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we've seen this before, whatever, but at least I was entertained when he was on the screen. But then it's like everybody there is just a failed super soldier experiment. What are we supposed to see on screen outside of just slightly faster running? None of them even have like the Captain America run. We've never seen them do the like it's, and then you have Ghost, and then Ghost is there. Like so one of the things,
but this is the problem.
You go ahead.
This is a big problem that we have here, because we've talked about this with the whole like MCU. It's like all of the most entertaining characters that they can do so much with that they could use in the MCU, they've shot them all off as one-offs. Like really, Thanos is like the only character that they've kind of built up throughout the course of at least just one film. But it's like you one-shotted Ultron, now you were one-shotting Sentry. I mean, you go back over the line here. There's so many characters. Ronan,
Ronan, Killmonger, the Captain Marvel villain. I don't even really remember anybody else. Ego, I guess. I'm forget Guardians too. I'm done with that movie.
Yeah, I mean Zemo, even though they kind of sort of brought him back, but I mean that was an angle that they could have used.
But see, like I always consider the Zemo return almost a doubling down of that because of one specific scene. It's like we get Zemo in Civil War, and he's pretty cool if his plan is a little like very, very convoluted and requires everything to go right. And so everybody goes, ooh, Zemo was cool. I wish we could have gotten him. I can't believe we wasted Zemo. And so Marvel goes, all right, let's bring back Zemo. You people want to see Zemo? Let's get Zemo. And so they bring him back for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But then Marvel goes, oh, and you guys wanted comic book Zemo? Here you go. And there is literally one shot, like it is a frame or two, where Zemo puts on the mask, takes a shot at somebody, and then takes it off. And that's it. Like there's no reason for the mask. He doesn't explain it. He doesn't have it again. It's just there. And that to me was just like, why would you waste that? Like, why do you guys keep doing that? I don't understand it.
But here's like I was saying, all of these characters that we could have done something with, they could have actually added to the lore here. Like I said, we've now one-shotted Cain the Conqueror, whether that was Marvel's plan or not. That's pretty much what we've done him. So you can add him to the list. You can add Red Skull to the list. Like there's so many.
Yeah, that's ants. That's what I was gonna say, Cider. It's like regardless of that, if you know, because there was that report the other week about, oh, Marvel already made the decision to fire Jonathan after Ant-Man bombed and not the legal problems. Yeah, sure, whatever the hell. It doesn't matter because it's like Jacob said, you said, Jacob, whether they meant it or not, they one-shotted him, not just by the legal trouble, but by having him lose to ants. You always bring it up. You can't come back from that. There's just, you can't say
you got punked out by ants.
Yeah.
Not only ants, commie ants.
Ants. Ant-Man. That's literally the best advertisement ever made for a movie. Like
you took an L to commie ants of all things. But like I said, so
ants. How about that?
So they were probably looking at
than us.
They're probably looking at Sentry from this perspective. It's like this is far too complex of a character for let alone just one movie, but for the writers that we're hiring to actually like write this stuff. It's like they don't know how to handle like, what do you mean he has like this void? Is that like a real character? Is that a cosmic character? It's like, oh, I gotta like, but like this is a guy who can quite literally take on, like I said, the entire Avengers team if you wrote him right? But here we're gonna throw him away in a Thunderbolts movie with a bunch of super soldiers because we don't know like what the hell we're doing. It's like nothing about this creative process whatsoever shows you that they know what they're doing, and this is why they're throwing so many things at the wall right now for Phase 6, because all of the interesting characters that they could have used, they've already blown off. So it's like, well, who do we got left? It's like, we just blew Cain the Conqueror. He was supposed to be the next big thing for the next 10 years. So it's like, who's after Cain? Like what Avengers level threat can they put out there that they haven't touched yet, with the only exception of Dr. Doom at this point?
Yeah, like I was going to bring up Dr. Doom because, again, I still think Sider's completely right that they're going to divorce him from the 4 and make him the villain. But I also think, like, how sad is that that you had like all of these villains, all this stuff, and you still had to wait until you got the rights back and could move on Fantastic Four to have your villain. Like that's insanely bad writing. And yeah, you one-shotted everybody, and it's just, why do we care anymore?
I mean, even on a lower level, you've done Kingpin to death already. Like, you guys have ruined Kingpin in such a short amount of time that nobody even cares about him anymore. I mean, look, I know you guys know if you listen to this show long enough, I've been asking for like a tombstone in the MCU for like over a year, but at this point, it's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
It's like, stay the hell away. I don't want this at all. So one of the things, you sort of touched on is like, why are we doing this? Why are you one-shotting all of them? And for the most part, I think it is a giant case of bad writing. And while I think that's at play here, here's my tinfoil going on, right? So you have the Sentry movie, you have it come in, blah, 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 blah. According to the rumor, which you guys that Jacob covered, check it out on Bounding Into Comics, the movie, so what happens is all the Thunderbolts fight the Sentry, he dies at the end or whatever, and then your post-credits or end of the movie scene is Mallory getting the powers, and only her, not everybody else, just her, right? So you have your new diverse female Sentry. I'm pretty sure that they do that because those Sentry characters are wholly owned by Disney. They don't have to, there's no, Sentry was made back in the Marvel Comics Independence Day, so there's probably some outstanding contracts with Paul Jenkins, who created him, all that stuff. But if they go, oh, we can just use our own Sentry, well, now I can get all the money from that. Again, it's just the very clear corporate greed that cuts down all these creative ideas that come out of them.
And like I said, and their whole thing is going down in flames, and they're trying to pour it out with like a bucket of water, and they're wondering why it's not working. It's like I said, you guys have learned nothing. We're 5 years away from Endgame now. You guys have been in trouble for at least 3.5 years, and you're still continuing to make the same mistakes you were making before. So it's like, okay, you're shooting Thunderbolts now. Okay, how long until the inevitable reshoots delay the movie another year? Because you're already reshooting most of Captain America 4. That's in the toilet right now. Blade can't even get off the ground before you even get to a point where you can shoot that movie. Daredevil Born Again, we'll have to reshoot the whole thing, even though we already shot half of it. So like you've earned nothing, and you're not getting any better. It's like you're still somehow making the same mistakes, some even worse mistakes than you were doing before.
And that's sort of what I was hinting at the top is, we got with the announcement last year that Daredevil was going back to the drawing board. We also got all that news that Iger and Feige are going to change the production way and cut back on everything, how it's produced, and actually hire showrunners and writing teams and stuff. So out of that, we got, now we have a showrunner and directors for the entirety of Born Again. And through that, they, in the revamp, they went, let's actually get back Wilson Bethel to play Bullseye. Everybody liked Bullseye. Yeah. Okay, cool. That was to me, I went, ooh, that's really interesting. That to me shows that there's a little spark here. Maybe something's happening. And then we got the news that after Stephen Yeun dropped out of the role of Sentry, it was going to be Lewis Pullman, who I think we've talked about on the show. For anybody who doesn't really know him, he was in Top Gun Maverick. He was the glasses kid, Bob, the super dork. So they made that move, and I went, okay, Bullseye. And now they unrace swapped Sentry and actually, gave it to like a schlubby white guy who could probably work out and fill out a suit. All right, Marvel, let's see what you're going to do. And then it's like the 1-2 hit of, oh, by the way, here's Daredevil's costume, and it looks awful. And then, oh, by the way, Sentry's actually going to be, you get white boy Sentry, but he's going to get, like smacked around at the end by Mallory Gibbs. And that's going to be your new MCU Sentry going forward. And we're going to give her a movie, and she's going to team up with Ironheart. And aren't you guys so excited for the diversity?
Yeah, I'm so excited for the diversity. Yeah, because I don't go to movies to be entertained anymore. I just go for the diversity. I just go, hey, that's a brown person on my screen. And then that's what I do.
I mean, that's essentially what all the award ceremonies are at this point, right? Or like that's like what all discourse is at this point. Oh, a brown person, you're the best. You're the greatest thing that happens to sliced bread. Whatever. Again, it's the Cliff Cider show of the magical touch of the black man, right? Like, and then to bring it back to what Jacob said, how it all relates. It's like that's essentially what they're doing. Can't have all the power in the hands of the white guy. Got to give it to the black girl because she'll know how to use it right. She won't go crazy. Oh man, yeah.
two things real quick. One, it's me and HG says so Sentry's gonna get cut. No, he's gonna die. He'll be dead before this whole thing goes on, and then his mantle will be spread out amongst the far more diverse and far more capable superheroes. So we're gonna get several diverse. Yeah, except for Ryan, not him.
Exactly. And also, just before you keep going, I wanted to mention it's the same thing that we've heard that they were going to do with Blade. Right? Like, oh, we're bringing in Blade, but the movie's going to end with his daughter being the new Blade. And that's like who our MCU Blade is now. So like you brought up we're one-offing our villains, but we're also one-offing all the heroes people actually want to see, which is just like, what? I don't know. And we still haven't even gotten to the X-Men. So
we haven't even gotten to, so that's a whole other cast of characters we can screw up in record time. So there we
go. Cannot wait for them to do that.
I wanted to share this with you because I think, like I said, even the normies now are starting to notice that Marvel is just awful, and this is just a perfect representation of what Marvel has become now over the last few years.
All right, cat's out the bag. We all know Marvel's pretty ass right now. What? No way. No, stop it. Don't be a fanboy. You know it's ass. But we have a little bit of momentum. We got Deadpool and Wolverine coming out and X-Men 97. Both blew up with trailers, okay? But before we keep going, all I want to know is who wrote Madam Web? You?
No.
Oh, come on. Don't be modest. No. That's too bad, because all I was going to say is, even though Madam Web didn't do too good at the box office, honestly, it's got really good women representation.
It was me.
I knew it. Get the fuck out of here. You're blacklisted.
I wish this is how
that
it worked.
movie had Sydney Sweeney in it. Do you know how many white people that would bring? Like, how did you still miss? Like, ooh. If this nigga's gonna hear it, you know what I'll do. Anyway, this meeting's not gonna be like this, guys. Sorry, I just had to make a zip out of him, blow off a little steam. Woo. You guys are good. Trust me, you're gonna get your flowers for every Marvel movie and TV show that you made. Just give me a second. Okay, Loki's been doing pretty good. Black Widow. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. That one's on me. I wasn't a cash grab. I'm telling you, I was just feeling myself. The bitch was dead. I don't know why I did that. It's on me. It was bad bitches in my room. Come on. You know how it gets. Everybody starts feeling themselves every now and then.
It's real.
Now, the Eternals, that one's not on me. That one's not on me. I swear, I put it on my mama that the Eternals was a hit. My mom's gone. She's gone. Somebody in this fucking room knocked my mom off. All-star cast, Angelina Jolie, Jon Snow, Rob Stark. We even brought in fucking Harry Styles. Who hold my mom? Just tell me. I promise. Who hold my mom? Come on, just tell me. You? Yeah. Arrest him. Wait, no, I you're under arrest. Come on. No. That's Just chill. It's the last one, I promise. Blade. Now. I ain't gonna lie.
I didn't hear the Blade part last night.
Cain almost ruined Loki. I honestly thought we were done with niggas. You niggas and Blade? What's up, twin? That's what y'all say. What's up, twin? Now, for the rest of the TV shows, we're canceling all those motherfuckers. They're sorry as fuck. Echo, oh my, what the? Moon Knight, supposed to be a hit. Hawk. Cash grab. Who made Secret Invasion?
Me.
Get the fuck out. Secret. No, don't come this way. Figure it out. All right, and honestly, that's it. Thor: Love and Thunder. You fucking. I already talked to him before me. He didn't make it wrong. Venom's been doing pretty good. But look, that's it. I think this is the first good steps to making Marvel back to what it was. Meeting is dismissed.
Thank you.
Wait, everybody can leave, but if you had anything to do with X-Men, New Mutants, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, or Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan in it, stay here real quick. You're not fired, I promise. Have a good day, man.
That's Marvel in 2024.
I wish that's how Marvel would go nowadays. Like, actually put him in charge. I love that guy. His comedy is so freaking good. The X films. Yeah, no, fire all those people. But speaking of the X films, we do have the X thems, the X theys, the eccentrics,
the Xers.
The Xers, the Gen Xers. That's exactly what they'll do. Yeah. So as Cider's brought up now, speaking of mutants and the awful movies that came out of Fox, we have some new news on Marvel's attempt to bring the mutants over to the MCU. So, pretty. Not a lot to the story, a pretty straightforward story, I should say. So if you guys don't know, when a production of like any media, video game, album, book, yada yada, when you make something, you have to file with the US Copyright Office to get your copyright, right? So that, you know, very, very obvious legal stuff. There's not a lot more I can do there to expand on that. So every so often, Marvel has to submit their filings for whatever show is coming out next. This is actually how months ago we found out that they wanted John Bernthal back for Punisher before the whole snafu and everything that went wrong with that. So a recent filing was made last week. I think it just got publicly made available today or the day before. But as part of this filing, we have confirmation of 2 characters who are set to appear in Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, I say confirmation, and I should clarify that this is official confirmation. We know that there have been a billion leaks and there have been a billion behind the scenes things. We all know that there's that photo of Sabretooth and Toad riding the Fantastic Car, all that stuff. But none of that has ever been officially relayed by Marvel. We don't know anything about this movie outside of its existence and all you guys saw in that first trailer where Deadpool took on the TVA. So according to this filing, we have Deadpool and Wolverine will see the return of Jennifer Garner's Elektra and the debut of actress Emma Corrin as Cassandra Nova, who, if you guys don't know, I obviously, as I typically tend to do, I gave a breakdown of the character's history in the Bounding article, but essentially the Cassandra Nova is Xavier's psychic twin who made her own body while they were in the womb and tried to kill him, but then he killed her in the womb. So then his mom had a miscarriage, and then the miscarriage, when it was disposed of, it actually just went into the sewer and grew a new body, and then it came back to life and it genocided all of the mutants on Genosha. Again, like, we're going
You serious?
Yeah, like, we are going into hard. Yeah, that's exactly perfect. We are going into hard, like, deep X-Men territory. It's sort of like that the comparison people always make between like soft sci-fi, which is like your Star Wars and stuff, and then hard sci-fi, which is like your 3-body problem. But yeah, so we Emma Corrin, if you guys don't know who she is, she has not been in a lot. There's a TV show called A Murder at the End of the World. That's probably all anybody's really going to know her from. She is playing Cassandra Nova, which people are thinking, like myself as well, that this single shot from the trailer is her with the bald head and everything. Fun fact, non-binary actress. I don't really know how else to add that there. I just think it's something we should all be aware of, that should be noted or whatever.
I'm going to say this just real quick. When I heard her name, I felt like I knew her from somewhere. Like, I've heard that name before, but I just didn't know where. And then when you said non-binary actress, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Okay, the way my reaction to Emma Corrin was, like, I didn't know who she was at all until her name was floated around for Deadpool. And so I went and I looked her up, and you guys can do this right now at home. I'm pretty sure the algorithm's not going to change that hard or whatever. But if you go search Emma Corrin on Google, the first result that comes up is her with a like a shaved haircut, like a buzz cut, probably from like a movie role or whatever. Oh yeah, it's from some movie. But I mean, she looks like the here, I can just pull it up. What am I doing? She looks like the activist from Stone Douglas or whatever, that high school, who also was named Emma and also had like a bald shaved head. and it always throws me off because I'm like, is that you? Wait, are you them? Where did you go? Okay, no, you're not related at all. You're just like a brand new actress.
It's like, look, how many gay people do we need on this Deadpool 3 film? Like, we already got the chick that plays Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Like, we got this chick now. We got like Hugh Jackman. And, like, how many gay people do we need in one movie? It's like, yeah, it feels like some conference here has been completely out of whack. Like,
well, if that's not enough for you, I mean, they're non-binary and or Emma's non-binary, and so. What was I going to say? There's a theory going around right now that because Cassandra Nova's whole origin is so weird and so bizarre, they're not going to want to do that. So they're just going to make her a multiverse variant of Professor Xavier, which is just going to feed all of the multiverse swap garbage, yada, 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 yada. It's going to, I feel like that's a really, really, really bad idea.
I feel like if I didn't have a drinking problem, like before the show would probably like give me the drink. Every time you hear it's like, well, first of all, they refer to them as they, them pronouns. I just like pour out some brandy. It's like, yeah, this is going to be one of those type of night. Yeah. All right, now I'm in the mood to understand what you're saying. So go ahead.
I feel like some show out there, whether it was like the Timcast or Friday Night Tights or like the Dank Stream, maybe not. I mean, Cider can tell us a Dank Stream or not, but I feel like somebody has to have tried that, Jacob. Like, let's go through the week's news and take a shot anytime there's any of the like neoliberal stuff, and they get like thrashed after like 2 articles. Mm-hmm. Like, there's absolutely no way you would survive more than maybe 3. Yeah. Where's my water? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad.
Yeah. What's up, Cider?
I was just replying to you finding your water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I found it. But so, yeah, that's what we know is coming in Deadpool 3 for sure. Whatever happens with Cassandra Nova will be interesting, I guess. There's not... Let Marvel, impress us. I'm not giving them any real benefit of the doubt yet. They have to impress us. But I am interested to see what they do with... Elektra, because there's no way I'm not letting it happen. There's no redemption to her happening for that movie. We're not going to do the thing where we all look back on it now that we're like 30 years out and go, you know what, that wasn't that bad, it had some moment. No, we're not doing that. That movie is awful. Remember, Elektra channels animals in that movie.
Here's the thing, it's like we have a much better Elektra who played in the Netflix series and in the Daredevil thing. It's like, why do we need to go all the way back to bring Jennifer Garner back into the fold? It's like,
nostalgia.
Why don't we get the Elektra that people actually liked?
Because again, remember, they can't make up their mind whether those are canon or not, so they don't want to blow that card yet or something. I have no idea. But that's what I'm saying is like, that movie's awful. We have a better Elektra. The only way I can see it working is if you play it up for humor, but I'm also just really afraid of Marvel level humor nowadays. But I also sort of have some faith in Ryan Reynolds. So I guess
someone asked you.
I mean, hey, he's charming, damn it. He's charming. He got Blake Lively on the set of Green Lantern. All right. Anybody who can still have game after starring in that movie needs to like be applauded. Yeah. But so that's Deadpool. Might be cool. Not entirely sure.
Eccentric Banana says, how do these people get hired? They suck. It's like, you know why. That's all I can say.
Leslie points it out here. They got hired because they fill check boxes, right? We literally, Jacob touched upon it earlier, but we've talked about this before. That's how they found Echo. That's the reason they cast Echo, was because she was specifically disabled. With like a prosthetic leg, and not just deaf, but with the prosthetic leg. They were like, okay, let's go cast let's put an open casting call for Native American actresses. Oh, one who is deaf and disabled just came our way, even though she doesn't know how to act. Give her an entire show, like, and it'll be the one that
give her 8 episodes, and we'll see how many actually make it to air.
And this is going to be our big connection between the Netflix series and the actual MCU. Everyone's going to love it. And then we get Be Sad, Kingpin. Aren't you sad now? Don't you want to go home and cry? Such a bad show.
And then he did.
And then it's so goofy. I still can't get over it, Jacob. It's that cut where he's like,
I need my mommy.
Yeah, and then it's like he's doing like the Benny Hill level like shuffle into his car when he's crying, like, and I'm just like, this is awful. I do not want it.
Centric made out and said no interview process. It's like, no, she was literally the only Native American woman who was actually deaf with one leg in the entire country. They were like, okay, you're it. So we'll give you acting lessons later on, or not, who knows.
Yeah, right. Like, no, they didn't give them to her, or if they did, they didn't do it well. Like that, all the blame is on them.
Yeah.
Like as awful as Echo was and awful as her performance was, like she wasn't ready for that. She needed like backup roles if she actually wanted to be an actress. If you go listen to her story, she's just like, my friend saw it and thought it would be fun, so I tried out. Like that's not an actor. Yeah, sorry.
We talked about like when Echo came out, we talked about how you can make that good. It's like, imagine if you had put Taylor Sheridan in charge of like 6 episodes for Echo, and how the entire tone and just the whole show would have just completely changed. But this is what the MCU is now. They don't look at these like superheroes or characters as, hey, maybe we can do our own special touch with this character, where it's authentic to them, but they'll still all be in the same universe. It's like, hey, let's get, someone who actually is very good, obviously award-winning good at a Native American portrayal in film and television shows. Like, no, let's just get we need to get some trans Native American woman who's never actually like did anything in her life, but we'll put her over there because we need all those check boxes here. Just like with the whole thing with Sentry, it's like, oh, she's black, she's female, she's a journalist, and she's in a wheelchair. It's like, whoa, she'd be gay. That's 5 in 1. Let's get her.
She has to be. There is no way at this point that she's not. Oh, she's also a YouTube reviewer for like.
No, not only is she gay, but her partner is also in a wheelchair. So
guest characters created by Dungeons and Dragons. So now you can put them in your.
It's like, well, when they have sex, it's gonna look like 2 teenagers like putting buckets on their head and charging each other like medieval stuff.
Okay, I can't even top that. There's literally nothing I could. I'm not even offended. I literally am just like, too good. Like, I genuinely don't know how to beat that one.
This is a pretty good punchline right here from Sony.
Oh yes. This is a very good punchline. Thank you, Cider. So, in case you guys haven't heard the news, we've covered it, for the last couple months, almost a year now that it's been going on. But the latest victim of the ongoing video game industry layoffs has been Sony, who have cut 900 employees across their, like, almost every studio has been affected. Most specifically, as I pointed out here in the headline, the studios behind Marvel Spider-Man 2 and the Last of Us series. So that would be Insomniac Games and Naughty Dog. Again, not too much information available about this story aside from they're going to lose 900 employees. They're going to shutter the studio that was responsible for the SingStar series. If you guys don't know that series, I don't blame you. It's basically their version of Just Dance, but it also has like a karaoke component. Very casual party game. Released one every year. Not a big deal. But so... yeah, that is all we know right now. There are a couple statements out from, PlayStation executives, but they are all just corporate speak out the butt. It is through these trying times where we have to scale back and look at our future, and just nothing you can really.
Thank you for your dedication. Please collect your paycheck at the door and duck underneath the flaming chainsaw.
No, that's 100% what it is. It always makes me laugh when it ends with like, we so value all of these team members and all of their contributions to the. It's like, no, just fire me.
We appreciate you sacrificing hundreds of hours a week away from your families. Now get the hell out.
Now go now. Like I would much rather. I don't know why
Kermit works for Sony, least of all the hiring and firing department, but I kind of want it.
You've got to have your side hustles.
I want Kermit to be the guy that has to go into the Last of Us guys and be like, hey, so that whole golf club thing, that just fucked the whole
awful
thing. You guys gotta go. Like,
Kermit knows where you live.
There's no say about this. It's over with. Get out. Bye.
Now, who's and then like in the skit, it's like, now who's the team responsible for Marvel Spider-Man 2? Let me have a private meeting with them.
I'll get Piggy.
Dude, get Gonzo. He can commit terrorism. He throws himself into buildings all the time.
Oh, that's true.
Just give him a vest. But yeah, so I'm just saying, I know that some Muppets got to know how.
Give him a dress. Either way, he's destroying your business.
All right, guys.
This is our lives now. This is just our entire world. Everything's a clown show. All we can do is laugh. That stop you not going insane.
I had to shut my camera.
That's literally what I was about to say. Was new bet, guys. Which one of those becomes like the next Muppet push? Is it going to be Muppet like trans kid or whatever, or is it going to be Muppet like
Muppets
freedom fighter terrorist? Yeah, exactly.
Muppets
like a Houthi
Saudi
rebel.
Arabia? It's gonna be great.
I can't wait. We're running those bets. Place them now. By the end of the show, we'll see what happens. But so the sort of crux of this PlayStation story is the fact that this is but the latest in a long stream of layoffs, right? We've seen layoffs coming out of Microsoft, out of Xbox, out of Activision Blizzard. We even saw Naughty Dog earlier or last year go through another set of layoffs. It was really small. It was only 25 people, but they still lost people. We saw Twitch annihilate their workforce. And for those who aren't really aware of why this is happening, this is not the evil gamers hate diversity or whatever they're trying to frame it as in the media. It's simple corporate greed, which is why, or I'll get to why that all matters, but it's simple corporate greed because during the pandemic, when we were all, staying inside or spending more time inside rather, video games went through a giant boom. I don't think that comes as a surprise to anybody. People loved it. People were buying single player games. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Warzone, the first battle royale that they released, came out like the week they announced, or like the government locked everything down. So it perfectly set up for success. And
it's almost like they knew.
Almost like they knew. How could that have happened? But so in the wake of, isn't Sony one of them Chinese companies, right? But the Chinaman, damn it. But in the wake of all that, these video game companies went, look at all this, revenue boom, all this yada yada. We should expand. Let's go hire every single developer we can. Let's go hire every single artist we can. Let's go overexpand. We'll eventually fill these shoes, in a couple years, but we got to get when the going's good. But then they ran into the problem of, okay, you had a boom because of the pandemic. That ends, that boom's going away. But also, like we were talking about with, Sentry and all that, you guys just aren't putting out good products. Nothing here makes people want to overly support you, especially when we see that developers give us games that are not finished or filled with bugs or just plain don't work. I brought this up with, I think I was talking to our good friend Cult Classic Cage a couple days ago, but Jedi Survivor, the latest EA game from, or the latest Star Wars game from EA, apparently people like it. Like if you like that series or whatever, yada, yada. But if you're playing it on I believe it's the PC, or it's either the PC or the PlayStation, one of those versions just does not run. Like it crashes, it stutters, you get 1 frame per second. And you know what they did? They gave like 2 patches over the course of like 3 weeks and then said, yeah, we're going into maintenance mode. We're not really paying attention to this anymore. So it's like, well, then why the hell did I give you my $60? So that's why you're seeing
like no takebacks.
That's exactly what it is. It's like, excuse me, what? I got shanghaied, like 100% got shanghaied. So that's what this is. This is corporate greed finally coming home to roost. And to Jacob's point earlier, I talk about this a lot over on my own show, and I try to talk about it when I can in Bounding articles, but I am actively rooting for this, right? Like I again, hearts go out to the individuals affected. I know how hard it is to lose a job and have to find a new one, yada, 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 yada. I get that. But at the same time, we've seen these companies overexpand to the point where they just are so full of themselves that they're calling something like Skull and Bones, which is a a worse gameplay offering than Assassin's Creed Black Flag from 2014. They're calling that quadruple A gaming, right? So I'm here and I'm going, I want a crash to happen. We had a crash in the 80s, a video game crash where it was sort of the same thing. Everybody tried to overexpand into the market and they just couldn't support it, and the industry collapsed. It wasn't until like 1990 with or 89 with the Nintendo, the first one, that video games really got a foothold back here. And honestly, if that's what it takes for us to start getting quality things, for us to get good games that give you a complete package of a story that aren't filled with microtransactions and all of these, narratives and lectures, and stop hiring Deborah Wilson for things. I'm tired of seeing her in video games, and I'm tired of her losing the fight to keep the eyeballs in her socket. Like, it's just eventually, like, I hope I want a crash to happen so bad, because at this point, it's the only way I can see us getting anything decent, like any sort of change in this industry. If you guys didn't know, over the last month, Sony has canceled a bunch of games. They canceled a Spider-Man entry, a Last of Us entry, a couple other entries. But here's the reason you haven't really heard about them. They weren't full sequels. They were live service titles. Every company is trying to get on that live service Suicide Squad style train. Wow. And we are already long past the point where the average consumer or just a general consumer falls for it. The only people you're getting now are whales, and the rest of us are all sitting here going, that's really bad. I was watching a video earlier today, and the player count for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the 24-hour peak off of yesterday was 360 players. 360 players for a brand new game that just came out, AAA budget release with all this backing, huge media franchise, 360 players. And that is, if that doesn't tell you everything, I don't know what will. And so I just want it all to end.
You know what, Sony? This is exactly what happens when you don't make Bad Company 3 or Killzone 4. This is exactly what you deserve.
Give us, honestly, I'm done with The Last of Us remastered graphics update edition, right? Give me my Killzone. I want a new Killzone so bad. Or just, whatchamacallit?
I still play Killzone 2, by the way.
Yeah, because I do too occasionally. I still have a PS3 hooked up downstairs, and sometimes I do it. I have no idea. It's fun. Remember that? Fun video games.
Remember Bad Company 2? Remember when that was a thing and everyone loved it? And then we just waited 20 years for a sequel and never got it.
Right. We waited 20 years. We waited all that time for a sequel, and you know what we got instead? We got a live service game that was, we'll have more maps coming. Give us all of your time. And it's we don't want this. Just give me my single player experience and I'll leave you alone. Cider, can you bring that Sony one up if you have it really quick? I just want to point out something about that header image at the very top. You guys recognize that? This is that awful. So this is, did we not go? I thought we went over it on the stream last week, or a couple weeks ago.
Is that your boy?
No, hell no, this ain't my boy. No way. No, this is not Ben Reilly. How dare you? So what this is I'm gonna see if I can get the
one of the skins, right? We talked about the skins a couple of weeks ago, but I don't recall this one.
Yeah, so what this is post-release skins. I'm trying to find them because they're awful. Spider-Man 2 DLC. Oh, that's probably what'll give it to me. No, okay, I guess Google's doing their best to hide it, I guess. Oh, here we go. This is a good image I can just shoot over to you.
You can always go to Bing if you want the shadier site.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to Gemini, okay? I'm not false generating my black Revolutionary War heroes. But that these skins are new DLC skins coming to Spider-Man 2. They were made in partnership with an urban youth reach out organization, and what is there to these are awful. It looks like the What is that place
Like,
called?
hey, yo, I got an idea.
Zone threw up on you.
Yo, it's like, hey, let's do a Spider-Man movie, but let's put them in clothes like Crisscross from 1991. It's like, then we will give him like the Fresh Prince DLC.
Yeah,
like,
and it's just like, who wanted this one? And I don't know, guys. Like sometimes, like I see they gave Miles like a visor that's flipped upside down, and sometimes I'm just like, do we like? You're leaning a little too. Where's the line between like stereotype and like racist caricature? Like,
I guess when
yes, we absolutely did, Cider.
I guess what Miles Morales is like a 40 ounce and he's wearing Timberlands, and then that's when we go across the line. I guess he's wearing a Yankees.
We already got that. We already got that in the Thor book, in the Miles Morales Thor, where Asgard is the hood and by Odin's fade. Like that was a real I'm so glad that happened. That was one of the better comic book moments. Still waiting on my New Warriors marble. No idea where that is, but I know you have them.
We need that internet gas.
And you can be amazed at the touch of the black man.
And he's going to be your new main Spider-Man in the Gamerverse going forward. So I hope everybody's super excited for just far more Miles Morales. I know everybody is clamoring for that. Let's see. What do we got next, Cider? What's our next topic du jour?
Well, I thought you guys might be interested in this one. It's the 4 years after release, Square Enix censored Tifa's cowgirl outfit. Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about this. So, guys, Final Fantasy VII Remake came out 4 years ago. That was actually another like perfectly timed pandemic release game. That's what I played during like those initial weeks when. Perfect. Yeah, right.
I'll be.
I don't know if Japan's in on it. Not Square. They're not smart enough for that.
I'll be the bad guy here. I've never played a single Final Fantasy game in my entire life. As a matter of fact, my only exposure to Final Fantasy in its entire ethos is the movie that came out back in 2001. That's literally my only time.
That's what it was going to be, and yes, because that movie is so bizarrely disconnected to what all Final Fantasy is that, like, it's funny to me when I talk to people who watch that movie because they either watched it and they were like, I don't know what the hell I watched, and then they never engage with Final Fantasy because it's like, what?
It's like, this is what Final Fantasy is? It's like,
yeah, that's exactly what it is. So like, huh? It's sort of like the equivalent of, it's like, it's essentially going, oh, do you like superheroes and big budget action flicks? Well, you're going to love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Here's Echo. Start here. Like, that's kind of where you started there. Like, it's all vaguely connected, but not in the best ways. So, but essentially, it doesn't really matter. Everybody has their own taste. But yes, in regards to this particular update, guys. So, Final Fantasy VII, like I said, the remake came out in 2020, 4 years ago. They have the sequel is coming out tomorrow, I believe. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So, ahead of the game's release, a couple days ago, we got and so this is Tifa, our girl Tifa. We all know her, we all love her. Classic video game icon of the sex icons, if you will. I didn't even know where I was going with that. I feel like I lost my joke halfway through. But so in the in-game, for those of you who don't know, in-game there is a flashback scene in the original game, in the original Final Fantasy VII PlayStation release, where Cloud and Sephiroth go back to Cloud's hometown of Nibelheim, where they run into Tifa, who is a childhood friend of Cloud's. And as part of their mission, she's like, oh, I'll be your guide to the local wildlife around us because I live here, yada, yada, yada. That scene's always been there. Fast forward to Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2020, and there is a very brief moment where Cloud has a flashback to a scene from that, like, from his memory, right? Like, he doesn't go to the whole memory. It's just like a really quick, like, ping in his head. And he sees Tifa in this outfit, crying over her dad's body and going, not going to stand for this, picks up Sephiroth's sword. And if you guys know what happens, like if you've played Final Fantasy VII, that's the moment where she goes to try and kill him. She gets like whacked to the side because she's a 15-year-old girl, yada, yada. So in Remake, when they made that game, they gave Tifa her teenage cowboy outfit, And in the original release of Remake, it came just normal. She had what you see here, that black did not exist. It wasn't super sexualized, if you want to use that word. It was just sort of, this woman has, she's chesty and she's here. Yes, she's a teenager, but that's not really the point. This is just the outfit she's wearing. Fast forward to roughly Monday, and the game gets Final Fantasy VII Remake gets an update ahead of the release of Rebirth. And not only does that remake change the ending of the game, which is something I'll talk, if you want to hear more about that, I've got a stream where I can deep dive into that on Fridays. Meet me over there. But it also introduced this black t-shirt that Cider is going over into the game. Again, this is 4 years later. So yeah, if you guys played the demo for Rebirth, you'll know that the demo for Rebirth takes place during that Nibelheim flashback when Tifa hangs out with Cloud and Sephiroth. And in that Rebirth demo, Tifa had the black cover over her chest. So this means they, in the 4 years, 5, 6, or whatever, probably considering when this probably went into development, that Final Fantasy VII Remake was made and put to shelves somewhere over at Square. They went, ooh, we can't, this is too bad. This is too sexual. We need to censor this. So they went in and they retroactively censored a character, which, so yeah, one of the big points that a lot of people have been bringing up in this discussion is that, oh, she's 15. Why do you want to look down a character's shirt, you weirdo, you creep? And it's like, no. That's not the issue here. I'm not Epstein. That's not what we're doing here. It's the fact that not only are they censoring something, but they're censoring something after they put it in your hands and you paid money for, and it just sort of opens the floodgates for future censorship, for future things to be removed. One of the most stark examples of this that I can remember is Skullgirls, right? The indie fighting game. A couple years ago, it got bought out by a new company, whatever, and they wanted to make it they wanted to give it mainstream appeal. So in service of giving it mainstream appeal, they went, all right, censor all the booba, censor all the panty shots, censor all the butts, done. We don't want any sexualization in this game. And it's like, okay, we see this a lot, especially with, live service games. It's not quite live service, it's just online. But the most egregious part was that as part of that censorship, the developer or the owner went into the digital art book that was released as part of the game way back in 2014 and edited out all the artwork that they could have found offensive. So that's sort of where I am on all this. Stop censoring our stuff and stop treating us all like babies. I don't know. To me, this always says so much more about them than it says about us, where it's like, you think that was super sexual. Why did you think that? Why are you being weird about the 15-year-old girl shirt, right?
Well, first of all, we know for a fact that teenagers do not have boobs, so that's not historically accurate. Two, if they do, these people will probably want to cut them off.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
say. Right? Damn it. And three, it's like, I love how these people think that they have any authority to play moral police when it comes to issues like this. And then they turn around and they make a change that nobody asked them to make, and then turn around and blame you for essentially saying that, oh, how go you got a problem with what we did? It's like, no one asked you to do this in the first place. It's like,
and
go ahead.
Nobody asked you to do this in the first place. And here, I'm glad you brought up this image, Cider, because I almost forgot that I wanted to make this point. The entire situation around this is really shady, because we all know that Square Enix has their infamous ethics department. We know that they exist to sort of run censorship, make sure nobody gets offended by any of their content, yada, yada, yada. We knew it was revealed way back when Remake came out, because they confirmed that Tifa, who, if you guys played the 1997 game or engaged with any media prior to Remake, that she's out there. She's I know Leslie just used the term busty, but this is busty. And in Remake, they severely reduced it, and they added an undershirt under her default outfit. Now, in the lead up to Rebirth's release, we had this beach shot right here, and this is a scene where you can, based on your decisions, the girls will wear different clothes, right? Like depending on if you compliment them here, if you use this word over that word, just one of those fun little things. But in all of them, it's clearly very sexy, but there is one in particular that's a bikini for Tifa, where her chest is completely out, and well, not completely out, but like very pronounced. They're not hiding it. You kind of really can't get around hiding that, right? And so we had a lot of people this past week going, the ethics department is defeated. We finally did it. Open your wallet, start throwing your money out there. Until like a day later, this Tifa thing was discovered. And to me, it's sort of like my tinfoil hat is, we'll give you, something, we'll give you some boob, we'll give you some sex appeal. Here you go. But then we're also going to take away this one. And the one that we're giving you, we can make an argument that this is just like, this is realistic. Like, women wear this. What are you complaining about? Whereas the other one, we can chastise you for being a gross, dirty weeb pervert. So, oh yeah, there it is. Perfect. So that to me, just, it's all really, really like gross, underhanded. And I mean gross in the sense of like, you're ripping us all off. You're treating us like kids, and then you're demanding our money from us. And I don't think we really should be standing for that. That's all I really have to, or where was, damn it. There was something I was going to, oh, here it is. Leslie asked, the correct term is busty. Do I have to cover my chest now? No more tank tops? Yes, absolutely not.
Yes, you harlot.
Burqa up. Burqa up. We're bringing Palestine over here, all right?
Yeah. And it is just funny how this is like one of these areas where it's like the insane radical progressive left and then like the super hyper religious right like team up every single time. It's like,
horseshoe
oh my
theory.
God, are those boobs that I can visibly see? Cover those up now, you swindler. That's what it comes down to every single time. It's like, like I said, to them, it's like I said, they can't censor Japan. They've tried so hard to like put it this way. Thank God for Yakuza, right? Because otherwise we'd be screwed, right? But they can't change the culture in Japan. So when they get these little tiny morsels of like a victory, it's like they just like they pretend like their team just won the Super Bowl when stuff like this happens. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, we literally had the localizer the other day, as Nerdigans covered. We had a localizer going out and being like, oh yeah, I hate this show. This show was bad. Our work made it better. And it's just like, that is how absolutely every sort of like Western influence, or I don't even know the right term.
See, if you said that about my work, and then you went and changed the words of my work in some other country, that would cause me to fly out to that country just to find you and smack you up.
Well, like that's the thing is, why don't we ever see this conversation happening with literally any other medium? We don't see, movie localizers or book localizers or TV localizers. Yeah, I know. As soon as I said TV, Cider, I was like, that's probably changing. But you don't see them going, oh, I'm going to interject my own original character into here. I think this character would have supported Israel, supported Palestine. I'm going to write that into the book. You don't see that in any other industry yet, at least at wide, because most people understand, like Jacob's getting at, that your job is just to make it so somebody else can understand it. You are not a creator. This is not art. This is not your work. You are just literally supposed to make it so I can read it. Right. And so,
translate it exactly what it says. I don't need your commentary. I don't need your interpretation. I don't need you to go out there and be like, oh, I don't like this. I'm going to go ahead and change these words here. Just tell me what the damn thing says. That's all I require of you. Quite literally, you have one job.
And like you sort of, we've touched upon this before, where when we talk about, why are companies doing this? Why are they doing yada, yada, yada? And it sort of always comes down to the social engineering element of it. And to me, all of this is just like shame you for liking normal things, shame every other culture for existing that's not ours. And like, it's cultural imperialism at its most defined. And like,
how dare men like boobs unless it's on a dude? Like, how dare you like that, right?
yeah, no, there's that, and then damn it, what was the other one I was gonna have? It was on the topic of social engineering. Oh, the social engineering comes in play in that they want you to be like compliant and complicit and never really push back on anything. They want you to go, if we tell you it's bad, it's bad. And so that's what this all sort of is. The more you can go and look at, oh, this foreign work comes in, nope, that's wrong. You need to trust us. Like,
but this is what I say. These people have absolutely no ground to talk about degeneracy or immorality. They have no ground whatsoever. So they're going to sit here and be like, oh, you let teenagers with big boobs. What's wrong with you? It's like, didn't you not spend the last 2 years hyping up a game where a dude had sex with a bear? Wasn't that you?
Right.
Same guy?
1,000%. One of my favorite things is always when like people forget their likes are public. So you get that person coming out here going, you want to look at like sexy anime boobs? You're a pervert. You should be put in jail, taken away from society. And you go to their likes and it's like, what's with all of these like Goku kissing Vegeta pictures? Like, what are you doing like right here? And then they like lock and they run away from the conversation. Those are like my favorite moments.
Like I said, so they have absolutely no moral high ground to stand on. So don't give it to them because they don't have it at all.
No, absolutely none. Cider, were you going to say something? I thought I heard you like clear your throat or want to interject.
No, I was just ready to interject the next topic, but if you guys want to go on, that's cool.
Yeah, let's roll it up.
All right, well, speaking of things that are disappointing.
Cultura! Yeah, definitely another Jacob article. See now, Jacob, after last week, I'm like looking to remember whose articles we're bringing up. But yeah, we'll let you take this one. I have to go pee real quick, so I'll be listening. But yeah, take us away, Jacob.
All right, so you guys know John Wick. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen all 4 movies at this point. First movie,
that's the movie series with worse action performance than the Hunger Games, right? I'm pretty sure that's that movie.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same one we're talking about here. But no, you've seen the first John Wick movie, awesome movie. Second John Wick movie, awesome movie. I thought it was better than the first. That's just me. Third John Wick movie, it's like okay, we probably should wrap this up now. Fourth John Wick movie, it was like okay, but I think we're done here. That's about it. But there's the Lionsgate still looking for ways to make money off of this whole franchise. They had that whole series, The Continental, which from what I've heard, I haven't seen it yet, but from what I've heard, a lot of people actually did not like that one at all, which is kind of surprising because even like with Mel Gibson and the thing, it just wasn't written very well. Then I guess guys came out after the fact talking about I wasn't even consulted with the film or whatnot, but we all know for at least a while now that this was going to be a plan, that Ana de Armas was going to star in a John Wick spin-off movie called Ballerina. And she was going to be playing essentially a character from the Russian subsect, quite literally the ballerina sub that you guys seen in multiple movies here. She was going to be one of those assassins. They shot this film. Everything was pretty much in the can. This movie was supposed to come out, I believe, June the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. So it was roughly about, like, quite literally a little over 90 days away from being released. And then news came out right at the 11th hour. Hey, you know what? We're going to delay this film from an entire year because we got to add some more action scenes to the movie. So this isn't, hey, let's push this back a couple of months because we're going to work a couple of scenes and try to, like, make the ending a little bit better or maybe spice things up. They literally pushed the release of this film an entire year to quote unquote add action scenes. So they went out of their way to try to profess that, hey guys, this isn't reshoots or anything like that, but it's like when you delay your film for a year because you want to add action, you're pretty much fixing a movie that probably doesn't work. So Ana de Armas, who we'll get to kind of her legacy in action films here in a second, it's not very good, but this is a film that was initially supposed to come out June 7th. The plan was to be released during the summer, but that plan has now changed. Lionsgate has confirmed that they have delayed it. They're bringing in John Wick director Chad Stahelski or
like Stahelski or something.
Yeah,
Stahelski. That's all I know.
Like I said, I've told you guys many times before. Don't ask me to pronounce African and Middle Eastern, Middle European names. It's not going to work.
You can ask him to pronounce Asian ones, but he'll pronounce it, and then you get 5 minutes of racist jokes after.
Oh yeah, of course, that's the way I go. But so they brought him in to quote unquote fix up the film. By the way, the last time he came in to fix up a movie, it was a little film that you guys all enjoyed called Birds of Prey. So if you love that movie,
we all loved it.
Oh, so if you love that movie, you're gonna love this one because we're all going through the exact same line here. But yeah, just 3 months before, we're gonna go ahead and shut this whole thing down. We've seen this cycle now, like I said, or mentioned it earlier in the show. Captain America 4 reshoots, pushing it back a year. Daredevil, we're gonna reshoot the entire thing, even though we shot half of it. Maybe Thunderbolts here in a couple of months when they're done filming, they'll have to film some more. Blade is another one that's been pushed back to death because of reshoots. The Marvels, we just see this thing over and over and over again. And yeah, she says she weighs 80 pounds. She's gonna fight another midget assassins. Yeah, so we're talking, which is hilarious too, because they put this part together. You're talking about like at best like 120-pound Cuban girl who's gonna try to talk with a Russian accent throughout the entire film. So probably not the best of ideas, but this is what we're going to go with here. Ian McShane, who you guys know plays the leader of the Continental in multiple John Wick films here, he stresses once again that these are not reshoots, it's new shoots. He says that he's shooting for Ballerina, which is a spinoff of Anna de Armas. He's like, we got to protect the franchise. Whenever you talk about reshoots or quote unquote added shoots and you're talking about protecting your franchise, that's usually not a good sign. But it says here that it was about a year ago we did Ballerina and they looked at it. Chad came in, the guy who directed the John Wick movies. They want to make it better. Keanu is in it as well. It takes place before John Wick 3 and John Wick 4. So when you say that you want to make it better and you're delaying it for a year, once again, you're telling everyone that the film stinks. Maybe you're
delaying it for a year, and you make this decision after the series creator you're like, hey, can you help me? And then like series creator comes over. It's like, yeah, let me look. And then the next thing you report is like, yeah, we have to delay this. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So a year. What's it? Full calendar year, 365 days. But
that's a whole new movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was going to say here, too. It's like, this has been the MO now for Hollywood. It's like they go into production, they film a movie, they go into post-production, they do a test screening, find out that the film's awful, which I don't know why it takes you to go to a test screening to find out your movie sucks. Like, does the whole Hollywood system not work the way we thought it did? Like, remember this whole idea of, like, these people would pitch a movie and they would have a writers put the movie together, and before an actor even signs on for a film, they read the script to see if the script is any good to like move forward with, and then you shoot the film. Like the studio looks at the dailies that the director gives them, and it's like, are we going in the right direction? Do we need to make some changes here? Because hey, we want to get this done in a few months. So if there's something that we need to change, let's change it now rather than having to change it 6 months from now, and we have to do like 4 months of reshoots to fix our movie. It's like, does this Hollywood not exist anymore? Is this a myth? Have we been trolled?
One of our users, one of our viewers, has a question on that end, or more of a point from the Honorable Cultura Casino. He says, Jacob, the film needs more action and a story consistent with John Wick 5. Its reshoots are a win. What do you think about that? Do you think it is a win, or do you think it's just we're screwing up? We got to do something.
Here's the thing. Even if the angle here is that we need to fix this movie so that John Wick 5 makes sense. Like I said, we've been at the point since John Wick 3 where it's like, look, we know what John Wick is. It's basically him finding creative ways to kill people. Over the last couple of movies, I think we've run that whole thing into the ground. Like at this point, like I said, the first 2 movies were great. The third one was like, okay, we literally had this dude fall off of a building and survive, and now he's gonna go kill more people. It's like, okay, guys, you guys start wrapping this whole thing up. Outside of the one creative scene where he was like, you had like the aerial shot while he was like killing people like in the building.
Yeah, that was like
there's some
thing, yeah.
And there's some other scenes in there that really stretch that whole liability. So the whole thing is that you're trying to use this film to hype up John Wick 5. You don't even need to do that. Like, this is supposed to be a spin-off. It's supposed to be something completely separate. And now you're using this as a booster movie for another John Wick film. I mean, do we need Ballerina to be excited for John Wick 5? Is that even necessary?
That was a really good. I was going to say, like, we know John Wick. Do we need... This really feels, and the way you just framed it right there, Jacob, made me realize this really feels like the epitome of consumerism, right? Because it's like John Wick movies, 4 of them. I agree with entirely all of your reads of what you were saying. Like number 2 is the best one, 3 is 4 is better, but still kind of but we all know them. We all love them. Every time a John Wick movie comes out, people go, oh, a John Wick? I like those movies. I'm going to go see them. They don't need that in-between thing to sort of give them their fix or remind them that it exists, right? Because by merit, John Wick has already been so good that it makes us remember it. They don't have to force it. And so it feels so weird that they think it's like a necessity to boost it. Like, I'm right there with you. And then I never really got behind this show in general because like I like John Wick. I don't think it's like a sacred franchise you can't touch. Like I heard the Continental was okay from the comics division crew. I was open to giving this a shot, but when they sort of said, here's Ana de Armas being a John Wick, essentially, that just feels like I'm stretching my disbelief a little too much.
Yeah.
Somebody said it in the chat, and I forget who it was. Oh, here it was. Matthew Godet got it over on the YouTube side, said, in James Bond, she held a gun sideways. It was stupid. She came off as a little girl, not a badass. Can't believe Craig was on board with that crap. So to that, like, yes, that definitely does sort of come off in the movie. But at the same time, I think that was sort of the point of her holding the gun like that. She's not your run and gun field agent in that movie. She's your information contact who can get you into the next place. So that made sense there. But to your point, Matthew, I don't see, Ana de Armas being that like doof, 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 like gun wielding badass, especially because John Wick action badassness is different than your typical action movie badassness. And I don't mean like Terminator, also, Dark Fate and stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's also keep this in mind too. We just saw Ana de Armas in an action film that cost $200 million last year called Ghosted. Apple TV bought that film for $200 million. It was her and Chris Evans in a film where she was a secret agent and then he was kind of like the hapless love interest of the film. It was awful. That film, I think, was like number 6 or number 7 on my worst films of the entire year. It got panned all across the board, and that's pretty much the closest that we've seen as Ana de Armas and as a quote-unquote action star, that kick-butt action star that we've seen, even more so than that Bond scene that she was in. So if you weren't really all in on Ana de Armas in that film playing a super spy action woman assassin, it's like I don't think that the John Wick series is going to improve that perception much more. I mean, like I said, there's certain scenes that she's in where she's like ooh, like this is the best you guys can do for a film. Like this is bad.
It's very like it feels so obvious that they were trying to. How do I want to say this? It's clear that like there is some element in Hollywood where people think and still still want Ana de Armas to be the next really big thing, and they she has like an air about her, but at the same time she hasn't really blown anybody away yet with anything outside of like her looks. Right?
So much praising. So much praising.
Well, yeah, just a quick little scene of Ghosted. This is the film she was in last year. Like I said, this is the preview of action star Ana de Armas in this film.
All these cuts.
And it doesn't look great, like in anything that you're seeing here.
It reminds me of when Emilia Clarke, when they got her to be Sarah Connor for that Terminator movie. She's so tiny, she's so small. How? I don't believe it.
Yeah, like I said, it's no better here in this film at all. So
this film just altogether is.
Yeah, that's like I said, it's all doo-doo. That's the best word I can say of this doo-doo. But we were having this debate last night when we were talking about Ana de Armas as an actress, and with the exception of Blonde, which was the Marilyn Monroe movie she did last year or like the year before, where even though like there's let's put it this way, there was some people putting her over, some people saying that it wasn't really that great. I was kind of in the middle regarding that film, but outside of that, like she hasn't been in like any movie that I can like actually say was like good. Like there's a lot of things that she's been in that are, like I put it this way, I think her scene or her little cameo in the Bond movie was pretty good, like that little short scene that she was in. But outside of that, like you had that Deep Water movie with Ben Affleck. That film was awful. You had Ghosted,
which was she was in that.
Yeah, Ghosted is an awful movie. Obviously, we have Rick's favorite movie of all time, The Gray Man. She was in that one as well a couple of years ago. Then outside that, Knives Out. And I think the only film that people can really point to that people actually liked her in was that Blade Runner movie from a few years ago. So I mean, it's just kind of like Like, what has she like really done to put herself over outside of maybe black couches in certain rooms in Hollywood? I don't know.
Boy. Oh, wow.
Well, to continue that discussion, because he's been biting at the bit, we have our good friend Cultura Casino. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic, and I get to hang out with Cider, who's awesome, and you.
He's the best.
Right. And Jacob, who's regularly on my show. I'm very disappointed in you.
Take it away.
Okay,
where's
we're gonna battle here.
No. You know better than that. In this particular film, though, I think you don't. Look, there is a strategy over at Lionsgate to kind of capitalize on the franchises they're about to control. One of them is, of course, the John Wick franchise. They actually basically made Stilinski the Goonie Goohoo of anything John Wick. He is in charge of that universe. So whether it's on Peacock or anywhere else, he's basically going to be their point person for everything going forward. So if you can remember what happened under the previous Broccoli family before we got Barbara, who's a fucking idiot when it comes to James Bond. Mr. Wilson, who is also a fucking idiot when it comes to
the other guy.
James Bond. But so when Albert Broccoli passed away, everything was obviously going to be lost. But not the case here. Stilinski kind of understands what he's dealing with, and not just this franchise, but a couple of other things that he's involved in. So one of the reasons why it's good that they brought him in to take a look at what was being done is so that it doesn't destroy what they're trying to build out, because it's not just John Wick the person, it's a world they're trying to craft. So they need to develop all of this kind of underworld stuff that the audience is going to be more engaged with. It's similar to what Lucas was trying to do at a different level with building an underworld that we were going to get to see and enjoy in a television series. So it's the same kind of a concept. So what Stilinski has to do is make everything tonally the same. And this film didn't have that. There was too much stuff that was not John Wick enough. I don't know how else to say it. So the rewrites that the script has undergone, and the lack of action, because this film had a lot of how can I say this? It had a lot of Madam Web in it. So it was a superhero film without a superhero. So they needed to work on that level of action. So that's what's actually happening behind the scenes. So they're going to fill in and kind of recraft the storyline because it needs to continue. Now, John Wick 5 is in development for whatever that's worth, whether or not you liked 3 or 4. I understand where you're coming from, Jacob. Believe me, I get it. But to me, this kind of has to be crafted around one person. And ultimately, I think that Keanu will live on in the series after John Wick 5 as kind of one of the people at the high table, because they're not going to disassemble the idea of this massive underworld. So, and again, those are my thoughts. It's not something I know, but what I do know is the other stuff, which is they are really trying to make this kind of an expansive franchise rather than just a one character focus, which is why you got the Continental, which did have one super suck in the middle, but the first episode and the last episode were good. The problem is that because you got yourself involved with Comcast Universal, you had to pump the chick that didn't deserve any extra help. She was fine as she was. This is something that I think a lot of these studios are learning, but I think the studio that really should get a pass in for a little while longer would be Lionsgate. It's just like we gave studio CD Project Red, CD Project Red, a little bit of rope because they kept delaying Cyberpunk 2077 forever. And then despite the fact that it was received like shit and the game was dog shit unless you had a monster video card like I did, they still worked on it for a year and got it to where it needed to be. Yeah. So had they actually just done and bit the bullet and said, look, we've worked on this for 2 years. We've delayed you for 2 years. Give us one more. They might have been in a better position at that time. Look, if a game studio knows what they're going to release sucks balls, I want them to tell me this sucks balls. We need to fix it. So again, just that's the only kind of thing I hope, Jacob, you're willing to give it a shot because, There are times you're open-minded. There are times I've seen it.
Here's the problem. I hear what you're saying, but I don't think you and I are really saying like the different things as far as like this whole setup goes. Because essentially what you're saying is that they're trying to fix this movie to make it feel like more of a John Wick movie before the next John Wick movie comes out. That pretty much tells me that they didn't have a correct direction to go in when they pretty much filmed this movie. Come on, keep in mind this film was supposed to come out in 3 months. Like we were around the time where a trailer was supposed to be out for this film already.
I am with you there. But what I'm telling you is they didn't bring in the guy they needed to until now.
But that's not a good thing, though. Like, you're not supposed to bring in that guy 3 months before your movie releases.
Hey, Lionsgate understands they used to have a reputation as the bomb factory. That actually has been moved over to Disney. But what they need is to not get that reputation again, because they do have some good properties. And regardless what you think about the Hunger Games stuff, they actually understood the audience that was going to go see that film.
that worked for that. Like they knew their audience, they targeted for it. That movie is not for us.
Oh no, it's dog shit, 200%. But it's dog
I will
shit.
say this: when it comes to Hunger Games, just real quick, there was 4 movies and only one of them was good. That was the second one.
It was dog shit for everybody but the people who were fans, right? And here's what they understood: they understood that their audience grew up. Okay. There's not a lot of self-awareness. I think Cider, I've spoken about this before. There's not a lot of self-awareness in Hollywood. And so he puts it a little more eloquently than I do, but there isn't that.
He always does.
Well, he uses lots of words I don't use, but
I know. I meant that sincerely. Yeah.
but yeah.
Hands on head retarded.
Stop.
No. That's me.
But the whole point being, and again, acknowledging Cider, this is a company that understands, or the writer understands, or the franchise understands that their audience grew up, so they had to write to that audience. Most of the time in Hollywood, they don't do that. They're still keeping their audience at that infantile level, and this is one of the reasons why Disney, instead of growing their audience, they infantilized them, and that's what's been happening with a lot of their material. It's not just obviously the wokeification. Is that a word? I don't know. But anyway, it's not just that. But and by the way, this is not Bud Light. This is Tecate. So calm down.
No, you don't show them what you're drinking until they pay you, Culture. You know better than that.
This is cheap. this is cheap beer, and it's really water. It's kind of water. It's
word coming in. New partnership between Tecate and Dilanio Mulovano.
We got to send Cultures to the Brock Lesnar school
it's Mexican
I'm not
water.
promoting UT. Pay me.
I'm drinking Mexican water. No, it's just I had to drink something tonight. But anyway, what's happening? So don't be too hard on this pivot that's happening with this one project. Give it room to breathe, because I think in a year you're going to be singing a different tune, Mr. Movie Man.
I better be, because if not, at this time this calendar year, I'll be like, you know what, we're gonna go on a rant.
Hey,
with Captain
you and I, mono, bitch. We'll go. I will UFC your ass. Let's do it.
Hey, I want the exclusive rights to that stream, and I'm going to be your Don King, Jacob. Like,
I tell you what, I know we're going to be talking about Dune 2 here on Friday, and I've heard all you guys' talk about Dune 2, but you have to understand that I'm in the minority camp here. As I wrote on Twitter, it's like wait.
Okay, there are 2 people that are in the minority camp, you and Spencer.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, technically, Rob, if that'll be a third one. So there we go.
Right.
He's a fourth of a minority, but he still counts.
I'm white presenting. I'm the cornucopia of races, but I'm white presenting, Mr. Minority.
But no, as I said,
color privilege.
Yeah.
But as I said on Twitter, it was like I just got back to rewatching the first Dune movie, and it's just as boring, as uninteresting as it was 3 years ago when I watched it. So I can't wait for part 2.
Okay, part 2 is not boring.
It better not be.
Was it was it one of those cases where like the first one is all build up and then the second one first of all, and I said this in my review, which was spoiler free, Denis smells his own farts. Oh, he's French, of course.
He loves the way his ass smells. I mean, you can tell. He will ruminate on like a shot or a situation or whatever, and you're going, fuck. And I don't curse a lot, but you're definitely in the audience going, okay, the first 3 minutes this was fine. I don't need 7. Okay, like cut 4 minutes of this shot, please.
Yeah.
But there are moments like that, and that's just the way he does things. So, what's that when you're an artist and you're kind of an asshole?
Pretentious.
Yes, an artistic temperament, whatever it is. But anyway,
Yeah.
at
We all know
least
what you mean.
at least in this film, everything has a payoff, except at the end. Who here has seen it? I've seen it.
I haven't seen it yet.
I won't see it till tomorrow. But yeah,
Okay,
the second
all right.
one. I
Okay,
haven't
so
seen yet.
don't be expecting like a finale. 'Cause you're not gonna get one.
Oh, is he?
Well, see, that was part of my problem with the stuff. When I thought this first one, I was like, okay, this is a great 2.5 hour commercial for a movie that I won't see for another 3 years. So now I'm finally getting to see that movie. Now you're telling me it's a 3 hour commercial for another movie that I won't see for another 4 years.
It's not. It's just under 3 hours. So calm down.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So it's 2 hour and 50 minutes.
Have you watched The Irishman?
Yes, actually. But here's the weirdest
I was talking
part.
to him.
Oh, so here's the weirdest part. So I am going to see it again tomorrow.
Really?
Yep.
A rewatch.
And, well, okay.
For
So
fun.
if you know something about me when I review films, and you probably do because I know you guys, but I will watch a film multiple times. So the first time I'm going to give you like my gut reaction. It's usually my review, right? It's almost always a spoiler-free review or whatever. Sometimes I don't put a second review out on a film or like a spoiler review. I will be doing that after tomorrow. I'm going to do it on Friday or Saturday. Thank you, sweetheart. She brought me
the boss.
She brought me
very
sleepy
rare.
tea. She brought me sleepy tea, which means I'm going to go to bed soon.
Whoa,
that
opioid dealings.
That stuff will knock you on your ass. Anyway, rewinding. So the whole point is to kind of refine my opinion. Sometimes, especially with these big films, I really like the idea of being able to go back and go, is that really how I feel? Or was it this as good as I thought? Or it gives me perspective.
Right.
And so when I watch this for the next time, I'll be able to say, okay, this was the thing I had a problem with the first time. And then I'll be able to kind of articulate it or put it into clearer words what disturbed me about it. Because
instead of just saying bad, you'll be able to be like, this is why bad.
Yeah, because okay, your first blush reaction is because you're watching it, your perspective is fixed on those very seconds throughout the entire film, whereas I know what's coming next, so I know there's something that bothered me here, and so let me refine why it bothered me. And I this is why I think movie critique should be you should be allowed to watch a film like multiple times. You're a critic, you should be able to look at it more than once so you can go, this really worked and this is why, and this didn't work and this is why. And I think that it would give an audience somebody who's going to spend their hard-earned money, because right now we're in a recession. I don't care what anybody says. Fucking recession. Been in a recession for a while. It's going to be
we're waiting until these media companies collapse. We might be in a depression.
It's already happening. It's already happening.
Oh yeah.
By the end of March, y'all are going to be looking at a completely different world. But
I'm not even talking about like the devices. I'm talking about like the Paramounts, the Warner Brothers, the Disneys, the Sonys.
They just called off that deal today too. Or public, because they're the Warner Paramount one,
because they just realized they're both broke.
Well, okay, so here's the weird thing, right? Warner's less broke. Let me get back, and I'll finish this thought in a minute.
Yeah.
Back to the previous thought, because keep me in a line, guys. Otherwise, it's Tangent City. But the whole point is,
we want.
If you want good critique, you should be looking at something more than once, because you need to be able to define why something's bad. And I think that too often you'll get that knee-jerk reaction, and it could be because you didn't eat that day, or you had a fight with somebody, or this dude next to you farted and fuck me, whatever. But it's just it's that kind of thing. So that hits you wrong, it wrecks the experience.
It does.
I will be sitting again in a fairly crowded theater. I just looked at the numbers again. But I'm going with people that I know, that I'm close to. I respect their opinions. This is a different way to view a film, because when you go to a theater, it's a communal experience. And when we say that, we're not saying like we all sing Kumbaya and shit like that. No, we are going there together, and the audience will react to moments. You'll hear gasps, you'll hear laughter, you'll hear tears. There's other people are doing this with you, and that's the greatness of theater. It doesn't matter if it's a cinema or if you're going to a play or a musical, right? It's that experience. So
as long as we don't turn this into like one of those like Marvel reaction type deals where it's like Spider-Man appears and everyone's crying.
No. It's just different, right? So I will be going with other people. When I finish the movie, I'm going to have a conversation with those other people because more information from another perspective informs my opinion. So, and I can disregard what they say, believe me, fine. But at the same time, it's like they found words that I didn't have to describe what I thought or felt, and I couldn't articulate. And I think as writers, because you guys are all great writers, I think that Cider's like rolling his eyes. But it's important to be able to express yourself in the way that you want to. So if somebody else can do it better than you, you're gonna borrow from them. Anyway, so so media, but real quickly, media collapse everywhere. It's happening, and Fox is about to get royally fucked. They have multiple lawsuits now.
Fox? Oh, really?
Yeah. Fox News is about to get.
Okay.
So how constrained am I on Bounding's channel? Am I like?
Well, what do
you know what? Like... We're near the end of the chat. Go for it.
Okay, so Fox is about to experience unintentional intimacy with a seven penis walrus that are wearing sandpaper prophylactics. That's about what what is about to happen. Yeah, they opened themselves up. The minute they settled with Dominion, they opened the doors to everything.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, and I don't care what the Murdochs say. We didn't know anything about it. If you know what, Lachlan and your dad, Rupert, be prepared because it will be uncomfortable for quite some time. So, what they needed to do is just fight that into the ground, and they didn't. And and they took the coward's way out, and they got rid of talent that they absolutely need right now. And so there's that. But that's just one thing. But every other media is collapsing. Why? Because nobody believes them, and they believe citizen journalism. They believe the ground level stuff. They don't believe the mainstream. So
why would they?
Be blessed.
I just want to point this out. Jeremy Griggs, Geeks and Gamers, had a campaign insert with a presidential candidate who stands a chance at being vice president.
Yeah.
That's what media is today. Like Nerdrotic is the news,
That's crazy. That's cool.
You're 100% right. And it's why I pay attention to, I have associations with 3 of the best right now in that independent journalism. Right? 4 if you count G&G. I mean, because I know Jeremy. I do. And so when you,
I count it more on the video side, but count it.
But when you talk to that, and they had Vivek, right? Vivek is in our sphere. He's in our sphere. That's not normal media.
Imagine
right?
What he just said. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what he said, and that's the difference maker, right? We are breaking news, like Gina Carano. Gina Carano is in our sphere. We have these people in our sphere. Now, maybe not on my show, maybe not in this show, but we have these people in our sphere, and we benefit from that. Because look, I can get information for people who are working on different things, but who's going to listen to me, right? But when you have this kind of influence, which apparently we have now,
right?
We get hate mail from people. Like, and look, you get people reaching out trying to like navigate your career. That's happening to me now. I'm this tiny little streamer guy. I only have I don't have that many people following me. I'm not Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. I'm not Jeremy. I'm not Jeremy from the Quartering. I'm not Hambly or Griggs. I'm not a Jeremy. I'm not Valiant Renegade, who's on the rise. That guy's going to be balls out awesome. And I'm none of these people. What I am is engaged in the subjects I talk about, and I talk to the people that would know something. And oftentimes that includes bounding into comics. So I'm grateful to be here. Yeah.
I'm grateful to have you on. I'm glad you could make it. I didn't expect to have such a good monologue, I guess is the best way I could put it, because you sort of, especially your talk about listening to other people and sort of building your opinion on that, like that's how I operate. I just never put it into words. You did it perfectly. And again, I just wanted you to come on and dunk on Jacob. That's really the only reason I gave you the link.
All I have to say is that if Ballerina turns out to be a terrible movie in 2025, I'm gonna put up a Shaquille O'Neal 35-20 MVP performance on you, just in case it happens, just in case.
Dude, I tell you what, I'll buy you a pizza. Calm down.
All right, that's fair enough. Then.
Before we end that topic, the last question I want to ask is Culture. What do you think about Ballerina? How do you think it's going? Like, do you have high hopes for it? Do you have low hopes for it? Just general opinion.
Okay, so look, the Ballerina was going to be a film I was going to go see. It wasn't anything that was going to excite me. There was a lot of hollow there. That's how I'm going to put it. So what I'm encouraged by is that it's going to be more fleshed out, and it's more thoughtful, and it's more in line with the tone that you're looking for. And again, I mean, if the guy that I talked to that knows a bit about Lionsgate is right, this is going to be good. So at least they're pivoting in the right direction, I guess. That's probably the best thing I can.
We can only hope.
And from my generally uninformed opinion, all I have to say is that this film feels like if Nurkic was in development for this movie, you can quite literally call it Crash Grab the movie.
So. You're not wrong. I mean that was kind of what it might have turned out to be prior to this pivot in direction. But again, the person that told me early on what was happening with Dune was spot on. And yes, I do have I went in with apprehension because of what I was told. He was largely correct, although he was kind of overreacting to what I was going to see. And yes, there is a lot of female strength in it. But if you're familiar with the source material,
right,
it's kind of in line with that. The only problem is, I just want to warn you, there are changes, and there are character changes that are not characteristic of the people in the book.
Oh, interesting.
There's two people they're pretty changed, and there's some acting stuff that I am going to be troubling over when I see it tomorrow again. So I'm going to say this. Josh Brolin is Josh Brolin in anything he's in. So he's always Brolining. He's always Brolin. Brolin.
Or if you happen to be the new black female journalist Sentry in the wheelchair, you can keep rolling. So,
easy now.
Until you get your powers. But you know what? You can keep rolling as long as you're in a dungeon. But you know what will not... What's that, Culture?
No, you're right. I said CC. Yeah, that's that means yes in Spanish. In case you're
no multiculturalism here. How dare you? When did you get infected with the woke mind virus?
Dude, if you lived where I grew up, you had to learn Spanish too.
No, I mean Jacob and I came from San Diego. We know the struggle. But I do believe, if my sources were correct, I believe I heard that the laser was charged.
Yeah, laser's fully charged. Ooh. We're ready to fire.
All right, Cider. What's on deck tonight? What are we blowing away? We got to do some budgeting, man. We keep blowing away things that are going to do that on their own in like a month.
I was just gonna say, I honestly thought we were gonna blow away a black woman in a wheelchair, so I was kind of semi-disappointed.
Not yet. We would have been MSNBC, CNN front page tomorrow forever. Taylor Lorenz would have had a whole month's worth of coverage on us.
I feel very Joy Reid right now.
Oh gosh. Oh boy.
That's a secret of 01. We blow things up rather than just say this is bad. We blow it up. It's so bad.
Oh,
we have a space laser. It was in the budget.
I love the space laser, by the way. I would like one myself.
Sure.
Sort of have to pay up. But yes, folks, with our special guest spot from Culture Casino, I think that is a perfect time for us to end our show here tonight. before we get out of here, I'm going to give everybody a chance to let you know what they've got going on, where you can find them, starting with Jacob. And look, I got it right tonight.
Yeah,
Woo!
practicing.
Yeah,
I have been.
So this Friday night movie club, we're going to be reviewing Dune 2, and I get to tell you whether it's just as mediocre as the first movie or if it's actually good, because there's a lot of people saying it's the best movie that they've ever seen, and I will say I will be the judge of whether it's the best movie you've ever seen. Damn it! So that's going to be coming on. Maybe we'll get some people on this show to talk about that film. Who knows? But we'll get to that later on. That's going to happen on Friday night. On Monday night, our next episode of the Bible Lens podcast. Obviously, I talked to Spencer over the last couple of weeks, so you guys haven't caught that up. Go back and check out those last 2 episodes. We went through so much depth in doctrine and ideology. Like, you're definitely going to want to check that one out. And then this Monday night, I got Shagsworth coming on. He's going to have a good fashion sit down with me, so we'll get even more in depth with him.
Wait a minute.
Monday.
Wait a minute. Did you just say a good fascist sit down with you?
Fashion sit down. I mean, it works either way.
Okay. Wow. All right. Then.
You go, boss. Neat.
Follow you to the end, my leader.
And then on Tuesday, we got the Barroom podcast. We just did one last night. We talked about not only, like I said, was it Paramount, Warner Brothers, all these media companies falling apart, but AI quite literally possibly killing the entire industry within 5 to 10 years. We talked about that last night and a few other things. So go back and check us out last night in the Barroom. We'll be back there Tuesday. Outside of that, I got a whole bunch of articles coming up because, I mean, I'm the king of bounding in the comics now. So, I mean, of course, I'm going to have articles that are just going to, just gonna like rise all of the nooks and crannies out of bounding for you guys. So I'll give you guys the good stuff as you guys can see here. I'll find some more scoops for you and check that out later too. So that's all I got coming up.
My liege, you keep us afloat. But what does Colta Casino have going on to keep himself afloat?
Oh, no. Well, tomorrow, actually, I haven't put together a video for tomorrow because I dropped a second one today. Yeah, it's fine. I dropped a second one today on the new leader of Disney, potentially the successor to the throne for Uncle Bob Iger. So that one's fun. But no, 6-minute daily tomorrow. And then I'm going to go hang out on a live stream or two. You might have heard of this HCast thing that I have right there over there on Mr. H's channel later in the day.
Are you just like his permanent co-host now? I feel like you're on every episode.
Not only am I the co-host, I'm the producer, so I actually create all the clips and everything. I do everything from the beginning to the ending, so it's all me. So, yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
But I just want to say I'm grateful. Bounding, I use you guys' articles all the time. It's funny because there's like 3 folks that I trust to put news out there, and I get to hang out with all of them on the regular. Although I haven't been able to hang out. Yeah, there's another guy I haven't been able to hang out with, but I think that's coming out here pretty soon. And
surprises.
I'm getting back to writing articles too, so I might spread some of those around to different places. Because
look at me, I'm Culture Casino, I can do it all.
He actually, like, of all people, he kind of can do it all. Like, I would actually give that.
Stop being nice. I want a space laser. Get me a space laser.
We can get you a car bomb. I don't know if we have a budget for another space laser. I mean, that's
okay. So now I'm on an FBI watch list. I didn't say that. Okay, FBI guy.
It's an Irish car bomb. You know, like the drink.
Got him.
Finally, it wasn't me. That was such a good one. With that, Cider, amigo, what do you got going on, my friend?
The biggest announcement I have is that right here on Bounding Into Comics, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, Nerdigans is joining me to launch the Tokyo Happy Hour. This is a show that's dedicated to the anime content that we have on Bounding Into Comics that hasn't really found a home just yet. And also, it's a cultural observation of what's going on in Japan. Not only are we talking about what Bounding's covering, we're also going to get over what's going on with the sports over there, like the New Japan Wrestling thing, Stardom, Tokusatsu, what's going on with the politics in Japan, not necessarily the day-to-day, what taxation's doing, but ESG is leaving that country, and Japanese corporations like Toyota, Nissan, and Honda are stepping up. So you're seeing wild things in anime, like licensed IP characters driving around in Toyota hybrid cars and everything. They've got a great one, Mashar from Gundam, doing like one of those drift things. He says, I drifted here.
That's the best one. That is the best one.
It's ridiculous. So we'll be talking about that. She also wants to go over that dub that was referenced earlier, The Lovely Complex, that where they trans this anime girl because there was the localizers got bored with the anime. That's literally his excuse, is he got bored with the anime, so he just decided one of them was trans. But that's what we'll be covering tomorrow. So tune into Tokyo Happy Hour right here on Bounding Into Comics at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard.
I will say this. I wish that I wasn't going to be held hostage tomorrow in a Dune screening, because I would like to join you guys for that first.
That sounds
episode,
awesome.
I don't think I'm going to make it.
We will be getting along with that. So yeah.
That sounds
what time
awesome.
was that starting, Cider?
9 p.m. tomorrow night.
Oh,
9 p.m. Eastern time, correct? Eastern, right? That's where you are.
Eastern. Yes. Yep.
So when I
so
get
bad with time zones.
So when I get back, I'm gonna have to like check that out because that sounds awesome.
Certainly.
But you got to get your thoughts down first. We don't need you to go we don't need another third trip for Dune.
We might. We'll see. Hey. So I got here late. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, but did you
not
guys
at all. Not at all.
Did you talk about the EA badness?
EA badness?
Just a Sony badness.
Yeah, just Sony badness. Didn't hear any EA badness yet.
Oh, much EA badnesses.
Oh boy. That's
how everything going to collapse in 2024. It feels like we're just on the verge of everything collapse, right?
Wow. Okay. Well, at least
EA just went through some layoffs too. Dang.
Yeah. Go get it. Go get him.
5%. I'm on it. I'm on it now. Woo!
All right.
I guess hopefully the Disney money can balance that out. Good job.
All I gotta say is buy gold and crypto while you still got the chance, because we're probably gonna need it in the near future.
Here's the problem. on like one hand, I'm like, I trust Jacob. I know he actually like that is probably his solid advice. But on the other hand, every time I hear somebody say go invest in gold and crypto, they like immediately go like crash their new like like $400 Lambo. Like they're those kind of idiots.
$400 Lambo.
I don't.
Wait a minute.
$400,000.
Oh, I was going to say.
I don't know how much they cost.
Who knows? The way crypto works on 1 week, you can be like, yeah, $400,000 Lambo. Then next week, you're back to work at McDonald's. That's just the way that it works.
Invest in Dogecoin, right? Like that's all I can really say to that. Get that up there.
I still have that.
I still have a bunch just sitting around.
So anyway, expect Bounding to cover EA tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably after the stream. To that end, everybody. Yes, as always, we're here. It's the end of another Wednesday night. I want to thank everybody for stopping by and hanging out with us. From my panelists, Jacob and Cider, to our special guest, Culture Casino, to everybody out there in the chat, from Volume to Leslie to Kate to DZ3 to Hey It's Me and HD to everybody else in between. Eccentric Banana, I know you were out there. Thank you guys for stopping by. We couldn't do this without you, and we want to do this for you because, there's just too much garbage out there, and we want to make sure we sift through it, give you the proper read of everything, and let you know when there's actual good stuff out there. Obviously, you heard from Cider. We have our new show, Tokyo Happy Hour, starting tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Definitely be there. It's going to be good. Completely hosted by Cider and Nerdigans. I'm excited. Don't worry, you won't hear all of my weebery. I'll keep that in the chat. As always, you can stop by the Bounding Into Comics channel, same bat time, same bat channel next week for another episode of 01, where Cider and Jacob and I will break down the week's biggest pop culture news. Hopefully, Josh will be back with us next week. I know he's gearing back to come back on. Remember, as always, Cider's doing daily videos breaking down the biggest news story in a very bite-sized format every day on Bounding Into Comics. As always, check out Monday Night's show where Jacob and Cider break down the biggest stories to break over the weekend. As for what the site has going on itself, I will be covering that EA news probably as soon as we get off here. We also have a review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming. We got a review copy. Our man Peter Pischke, if you guys know him, he is providing us with that review. So look out for that. That's going to go up. Pretty big win for us. If you want more of me personally, you can find me on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. Or you can catch me over on my own channel Friday nights at 5 p.m. I host the Good, the Mad, the Ugly show, where I go and give deep dives into topics that might not get discussed around the sphere: anime, video games, tokusatsu, all that sort of fun stuff. Obviously, I'm going to touch upon this week. I'm going to touch upon the Final Fantasy VII changes, but also I will be this week's episode. I'm going to be doing a full sort of dive into the Netflix Avatar series. So if you are at all interested in that, come check it out. I'd be happy to have you. But until then, I think we are good for the night. Anybody have anything left to say?
No.
Shaka Khan.
All right. Then
Shaka
with
Khan?
this,
Okay.
Yo, infidels.
Oh, yeah. Take it easy, everyone, and catch the 6 Minute Daily.